Jimmy, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby. Councilmember Burgess.
Here.
Councilmember Karen.
Here.
Councilmember Frederick.
Present.
Councilmember Rebello.
Here.
Councilmember Rusi.
Here.
Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item B is proclamations and presentations, and we have an excellent one. Lakeland Manor, 50 years. 50 years in this community. Jimmy Nera, come on up here for 50 years. Oh, he's not that old. Come on. 50 good years. Good to see you. Stand right here in the center spot here. I'm going to read the proclamation, then we'll give you the mic, and I want you to say a few words. Well, we got that's probably somewhat true, but we're going to still give you the mic. Come on.
One for him.
Well, you've gotten many on me. Proclamation in honor of the 50th anniversary Lakeland Manor. Whereas the Mayor and Council of the City of St. Clair Shores deem it fitting and proper to publicly recognize and express our pride and appreciation to Lakeland Manor on celebrating 50 years of business, which has served the city well as a thriving part of this business community. Lakeland Manor was established by Jimmy and Sandra Nera in 1976, when it began as a shared dream between husband and wife, which grew into a beloved community landmark shaped by hard work, faith, and a deep commitment for caring for others. Whereas from the outset, Jimmy and Sandra created a place where life's most meaningful moments could happen. Weddings, graduations, anniversaries, and celebrations of life, each treated with the same respect and personal attention, with their powerful philosophy that every guest matters. Every event deserves excellence, and every family should feel welcome. Whereas Lakeland Manor has welcomed thousands of families through their doors, many returning generation after generation for the elegant spaces, exceptional food, and the genuine connection offered by the Nera family, creating special memories. Jimmy Nera has continued to honor Sandra's legacy by carrying forward the values they built together: kindness, quality, and service from the heart, showing that their story is one of perseverance, partnership, and enduring love. A reminder that true success is measured not only in the years of business, but in lives touched and memories made. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the City of St. Clair Shores, on behalf of all its residents, extend our congratulations and best wishes to Lakeland Manor, celebrating their 50th anniversary, and wish them many more years of continued success. Jimmy, God bless you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council. Most of all, I want to thank people of St. Clair Shores. They've always been behind us, always. Fundraisers, anything we did, doors open, they'd come in. I'll never forget them. The greatest city in the world, St. Clair Shores. Amen. I thank you, and Sandra thanks you. I'm done.
Jimmy, though. You got a mic on.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I can't believe you, 50 years. I want to let you know, I had my high school graduation party at your place. That was 45 years ago. You guys have the best food. Always did have the best food. Tasty, the best chicken. I've never met. Not even Mrs. Zender can beat your chicken. So that's how I always felt.
I won't be around there much longer, but my daughter Nicole is going to be running everything.
Say that again.
Okay.
I am not going to be around that much anymore, but my daughter Nicole is the boss.
Well, you know, and Jimmy, I would say this too, because you do you said about the great people, but it is the service and the great quality of food that you have delivered for 50 years. It's just,
Thank you.
when you go to Lakeland Manor, you know you're going to get a great meal. I always love that when we have some type of fundraiser there. Hopefully it's not a funeral, so I try to avoid the place for that. But we have a fundraiser there, and we've been going for decades. And not only that, all the people you've employed over the years. And truthfully, one of them was my daughter many years ago. So, I mean, you've employed so many people in the neighborhood. It's just been a blessing. So
Thank you.
thanks
Thank
for
you,
everything.
guys. Thank you very
And
much.
I wanted to personally thank Mr. Nera here because a few years back, when the war started in the Ukraine, everyone might not know it, but my daughter was a Ukrainian. She lived in the Ukraine at one time before we got her. Jimmy and his family here threw on their own backs, on their own costs, a beautiful fundraiser for orphans in the Ukraine that were in a orphanage where my daughter was.
I
And
wasn't even in this country when my daughter did that.
your daughter did, it
She
was
raised
incredible.
almost $60,000
Yeah.
one night.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it-
I wasn't
it-
even here.
It was an incredible thing, and I will always be thankful for you too. And the people of St. Clair Shores
That's
love
what
you
it's
and your
all about,
family.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta give back, baby. Gotta give back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nera family.
He's got to go raise some money for something.
And just before we go to 3, we do have another little fundraiser update. Tara for St. Isaac Jogues is here to talk about their fundraiser coming up here, I think, on the 18th of April, if I remember.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tara Coons. I'm the
Pull
auction.
that mic down.
Yep. Better now? My name's Tara Coons. I'm the auction chair for St. Isaac Joe's auction this year. That is April 18th at the Century Banquet Center in Sterling Heights. The auction supports classroom resources, tuition assistance for students, all throughout the school. And it's the school's largest fundraiser of the year. Ways that you could support leading up to the auction is sponsoring, donating. We have an Amazon wish list, or just items or experience in general. I know we've successfully got mayor for the day, so that will be a great add-on this year.
There's no way it can raise any money, but I put they asked me, so I put it in. But
I'm sure it will. I think the kids will love that.
oh, we got a silent bidder here coming in just in case it bonds.
I'll bet on it,
just-
Kip. I'll bet on it too.
Good, thank you.
I think it will be good.
All right.
And just spreading word through social media or word of mouth for connections, or just by attending the event would be great. You can reach out to me at the auction email, or just contact the school directly. The auction email is auction@stisaacjoes.com. And yeah, we'd love to have you at the event and supporting the school. Thank you, guys.
Okay, just tell us one more time, the time and the date and all that again. One more time.
Yes, it is at the Century Banquet Center in Sterling Heights on April 18th at 6 p.m.
And how do you buy the tickets again?
Online.
Online.
Yes. So if you just go to the school's website, you'll be able
Isaacs.
to find it, or contact the school directly.
Thank you. I'm sure it'll be a great success.
And what's the theme?
It is a yacht rock soiree, anchored in hope.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Item 3 is audience participation agenda items. Amy, do we have any?
Yes, there's 2, Mayor. The first is Aaron Liberty, who would like to speak on item 11A.
Good evening. A lot of great things on the agenda tonight. I just wanted to speak about, the Board of Review concluded, and in preparation for that Board of Review, because I'm going to, I was protesting my property taxes. And I did find this one document, which I'll provide to the deputy clerk to give to all of you. But it was This was at the end of the Biden administration, and it's the U.S. House Oversight and Accountability Committee. And it was how illegal immigration was overly inflating the values of our home. And as anybody knows, that value's inflated times the millage rate equals the amount that you have to pay. And I bring this to your attention because, again, you're going to be voting on the millage rates. The Board of Review is going to be coming and, making a recommendation. And I just want us to look a little bit deeper into that recommendation. Because, again, based on the Oversight Committee document, the title of the document is called, and you can look it up, anybody can look it up, just type in this, The Consequences of Illegal Immigration for Housing Affordability, Government Budgets, and American Workers. And again, it's just how that overinflated value of our homes multiplied times the millage rate, it's increasing our taxes based on a fictitious number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathleen Slimler would like to talk on item 6.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm Kathleen Simler from AARP, Michigan. I'm here to raise the alarm about a kind of crypto fraud that has become a growing threat across the country, including right here in St. Clair Shores. You've probably seen these crypto ATMs or kiosks at gas stations and party stores. They are peppered throughout your community. They look just like any regular ATM, but they're increasingly being used to defraud people of their hard-earned money. In fact, this kind of fraud is skyrocketing. According to the FBI, in 2024, Michiganders lost more than $125 million to these scams, and 85% of those victims are over the age of 60, and that is what got AARP's attention. Older people are clearly in the crosshairs for these scams, and that should make you pause, since 30% of your population falls within that demographic. Incredibly, some studies have shown that 93% of transactions on these crypto ATMs are scams, 93%. Last summer, you may have seen a story in the news about a retired teacher in Michigan who deposited more than $48,000 of her retirement into one of those machines after she was contacted by someone who was supposedly from the PayPal fraud department. Her money was lost, not recovered. Crypto kiosk fraud is a problem that needs your attention. It is a fast-growing industry, and the impacts are profound, especially when victims are older and at a point in their lives when they're at least able to recover financially. But there is hope. Communities across Michigan, like in Sterling Heights and Grosse Pointe Farms, have acted to put in place common-sense protections, like daily or monthly limits on how much money somebody can put into one of those machines. Tonight, I'm asking you to join them. On behalf of AARP, I brought a model ordinance that can protect your residents from this kind of fraud. As elected officials, you have the power to do that, and AARP is urging you to do so. Thank you.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, give that model ordinance to the clerk, and then she, okay, great, then she will distribute it to us. Excellent. Amy, there was no more, correct? Correct. Thank you. Item 4 is request to adopt a resolution to hold the 2026 St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade on May 24th, Harper Avenue. Chairwoman Pam Mason, I know she's got members of the parade committee here, so come on up. Good evening.
Hi.
Just go right there. Yes,
To the podium.
podium, please.
Hi. Thanks
Hello.
for having us.
Thanks for coming. We're excited. We're always excited for the parade.
Good, because it's a big one this year. I don't even want to get into all that. But first of all, I do want to say,
Pam, talk into the mic if you
Oh,
would.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
first I'd like to introduce everybody.
Thank you.
I'm Pamela Mason. This is Robert Mason, Kyle Nicholson, Cheryl McKee, and Maria Gala. We have a couple that are out sick,
Sure.
couple that, or somebody that's out of town. But that's us. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you Thank you to Rob Spinizzola, the Finance Department, the IT Department, Communications, for giving us our QR code. Then this QR code is for donations. We're trying to ease the pressure on our small businesses. So we're asking all of our community to pitch in $1, $2, $5, whatever you can, and just help us keep this tradition going, keep it going strong. We also have our fundraiser dinner coming up on April 30th, and it starts at 4 o'clock. It's at St. Margaret on 13 Mile between Harper and Little Mac. It's $20 a person and $10 for children 10 and under.
So you got the QR code, and then you got the fundraiser coming up.
Yes.
So those are two big ones we need, right? We need money to run the parade, because it's not cheap, right?
It is not cheap. It is not cheap at all. And it's a lot of work trying to raise funds, so any little bit would help.
Great, okay. Questions, but we also need the request to adopt the resolution. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. First off, thanks to the committee and all the volunteers for your hard work as always. I know what people see go down the streets is the result of a full year of work from a lot of people behind the scenes, and I don't think everyone fully appreciates how many hours and hours and hours and how many people are involved in putting this together. So I want to say thank you to the committee for all those hours of hard work. It always is something I know we as a city are very proud of on that day, to see the end result of it. So you're going to continue, as always, working with administration, police, fire, DPW on the logistics, on the safety, on those type of things. And it is on Harper this year again, correct?
Yes.
Because of the construction on Jefferson, I know usually we shift back and forth, but it's been on Harper due to the construction, and it is on there this year.
I believe it's going to be on Harper for another year, 2 years,
Yeah, so,
at least another
Yeah,
year.
correct. There will be construction on Jefferson in 27, too.
Okay.
okay, and I know Dave has his pen up and he is the liaison, so I will withhold on making the motion, but I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of everybody, and just confirm for the residents that you're going to continue to be working on some of the logistics and things like that. And thank you also for helping to publicize how the residents could step up and help you guys with this big task. So thank you.
Yep, as Candace would say.
Mr. Rebello?
Thank you, Mayor. As Candace would say, I've been the council liaison to this group for a number of years now, probably, I don't know if it's close to 15 or so, it's something like that. And this group here is incredible, hardworking, and I'm looking forward to what I think is going to be the best parade ever. And the parade committee, let me speak for everybody here. Everybody up here, everybody you see up here, including the voice of the parade, Mr. Erie, supports the parade in their own way monetarily. They talk it up. So I would like to thank each and every one of you, including the mayor, for giving us all the opportunity to make the best parade possible in the United States.
Absolutely.
And with that, I will make a motion to approve the request to hold the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade on May 24th, 2026 at 1 o'clock on Harper Avenue, closing Harper Avenue from 9 to 11 Mile Road and Little Mac Avenue from Harper, merging to 10 Mile, as recommended by the city manager. And again, that's a Sunday.
Supported by Ms. Burgess. Ms. Burgess?
Did you get a new design for a T-shirt?
We do.
Do we have a sneak peek?
I
Okay.
don't have it here.
So she's going to come back, right? You're gonna,
We'll be back.
She'll
We'll be back.
I've seen it. It looks great, by the way. Anyone else? So we have a motion by Mr. Bell, supported by Ms. Burgess, to approve the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Great. So you'll be coming back, and the parade is a signature event here, right? Not only do we honor the veterans, but it's been embedded in this community almost as long as we have been a community for 75 years. And so without volunteers like yourself, and people before who have maintained this, right? And it's you people and the volunteers in the past who have kept this going for all these years, more than 70 years. This is 73, is this what this will be? 73. And I always wonder if people will continue to come, because I've been around a while, and you know what? They come decade after decade after decade, because I've been coming since I've been just a little kid, and it's a great parade. So we really do appreciate all the effort you do in making this special in St. Clair Shores. So thank you, and then we'll see you back here another time to promote it and show us everything, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe one more time before the
This-
fundraiser.
Yes. Before okay. Whatever you say.
Whatever you say, you come when you want to. I don't tell you. I don't tell you. Pam, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Item 5 is the Maple Benjamin 2026 Canal Dredge. Review and confirm the assessment roll. Hear objections to the roll. Adopt the resolution confirming the special assessment district. So 5A is the public hearing. So we'll open the public hearing for the Maple Benjamin 2026 Canal Dredge. So this is just a public hearing to hear anything regarding the Maple Benjamin Canal Dredge. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? Yes, the name and obviously where you reside, which...
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ryan Stefanski. I reside at 22456 Benjamin Street, and I serve as the treasurer of the Maple Benjamin Canal Association. I'm here tonight on behalf of the residents of the Maple Benjamin Canal in support of the 2026 Dredging Special Assessment District. The canal serving our neighborhood is an artificially created watercourse, and like many canals along Lake St. Clair, it requires periodic dredging and maintenance in order to remain functional. Over time, sediment and organic material naturally accumulate, reducing water depth and limiting navigation, especially in periods of low water like we're seeing right now. Without periodic maintenance, dredging, the canal will continue to degrade. The residents of the Maple Benjamin Canal Association have strongly supported moving forward with this project. 31 of 43 households, more than 70%, voted in favor of proceeding. In addition, residents have voluntarily contributed over $78,000 toward the $137,000 project, demonstrating a significant financial commitment from the community. I would also like to note projects like this represent a very large undertaking for volunteer homeowner associations. Between securing Eagle and Army Corps permits, obtaining contractor proposals, coordinating engineering and soil testing, collecting funds, and working through multiple layers of city approvals and permits, it requires substantial time and coordination from residents. That said, we are grateful for the opportunity to utilize a special assessment district, as it is a valuable tool to help ensure all benefiting properties contribute their fair share toward a project like this. I would also encourage council to understand the full scope of the process required to permit and complete a canal dredging project, as it is both complex and time-intensive for associations to navigate. Despite that, our residents have worked diligently to move this project forward because maintaining these canals helps protect the quality of our neighborhoods and the city's tax base. On behalf of the Maple Benjamin Canal Association, we respectfully ask that the City Council approve the Special Assessment District and confirm the assessment roll so that this project may proceed. Our residents have done their part to support this project, and tonight we respectfully ask the city to help protect and preserve the canal for future use. Additionally, given the amount of coordination involved in projects like this, I hope the city might consider exploring ways in the future to help streamline the process for canal associations undertaking necessary maintenance dredging. Thank you for your time this evening, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you may have.
At this point, it's a public hearing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Anyone else before I close the public hearing? No? Close the public hearing, so we will move to 5B. Adopt the resolution confirming the special assessment district for the Maple Benjamin 2026 Canal Dredge. Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move to Approve the resolution confirming the special assessment district for the Maple Benjamin 2026 canal dredge.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Rebello. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, just actually want to respond to comments that Ryan made in terms of the process. I'm currently working on a project for the county, working with Army Corps and Eagle, and we're going to get into all the permitting and everything that goes into my particular project, but I do know Representative St. Germain, her office is very interested in trying to figure out how to streamline that, because the Eagle process, Army Corps process, that's controlled at the state level. Not much we can do here, but I know her office is very much, would be interested in probably hearing from you. I can get you the contact information, one of our legislative aides that is trying to dig into the state process to try to figure out how we can make it more streamlined and easier, because it's a lot for your volunteers to take on. You're outside of it. I'm currently inside of it trying to maneuver, and that's hard enough, so.
It's
really
difficult.
appreciate that.
I appreciate that. What I would really like to see potential in the future is, there are 9, 10 canals up, between 10 Mile and 11 Mile here. We all have to deal with the same thing, we all have to go through this permitting process. We all have to find our own contractors. If we could somehow find a way to bring all of those associations together so that we could streamline this process and, work with economies of scale in order to have maybe some contractors that the city has deemed these are good reputable contractors that are willing to work with the city. They know what the special assessment district consists of and how to navigate that. Maybe even get all of us together to be able to do something a little bit more substantial in terms of, I know that, for instance, on Benjamin Stotler, where I am, Maple Beach, 10 Mile Beach, all 3 of those canals, 4 of those canals, they all suffer from the same issues. We're constantly battling this sediment that's coming in. You guys are probably very aware of the muck and the algae situation that our senators our representatives and our senators are trying to work on. The Save Lake St. Clair page is up on Facebook. I don't know if it's a seawall or if it's some type of a barrier out there to kind of assist in keeping the sediment out in the lake. But if we could all work together and battle this together, I think we could achieve something very, very good for all of the residents that live along the water there.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. That was all.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. I guess just 2 procedural points. From a point of procedure, we already did create the special assessment district. It's just to confirm the role, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, the recommended motion just says adopt the resolution confirming the special assessment district but it doesn't state role. So point of clarification, the motion should specify it's for the special assessment district role, not just a special assessment district. Back when we did this for another SAD in January, the motion did state role. So we should make sure the minutes reflect that the motion includes the word role, not just a special assessment district. And the second procedural question I do have, the affidavit of mailing states that was posted each of the following places: interim police station, good; interim fire hall, good; civic arena, good. That says library. How are we posting anything at the library? The library's closed to the public since the fall.
Amy?
We do send it over to the library. I believe they should be posting it on their door.
On their door? Okay. Just wanted to make sure, not that we need the 4th place to be, but just want to make sure that that is a correct statement of where it was posted. The affidavit of mailing for the last special assessment district we did back in January did not say library.
Okay.
So maybe that's a new thing.
All right. We'll look, but.
Okay, either way, it's
sure.
a redundant 4th location, but just was going through the packet material carefully and caught that. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rubello.
Yeah, one of the things I just want people to realize when they hear this stuff, you're Maple on the Bay there. You guys have got to be missing 3.5, 4 feet of water, it looks like. So these things are, at least in the city of St. Clair Shores, obviously, because we're a waterfront community, but man, oh man, it's a scary thing. And to add, maybe in the future, you brought up that Benjamin Canal, which is right in the center. I don't know if there's anything that this body, and it's for another discussion another day, but is there any type of funds available to, we got to do something with that. The folks got to do something on that street with that. It's just a total disaster when you're looking at it. And I don't know, there may be safety issues involved if somebody falls in there. So maybe we can all keep that on the radar too, if there is anything at all we can do.
May I? Being a resident of that street, I can tell you that it was dredged last year,
Yeah.
that middle canal, but the water is down so significantly. 4 feet down from the record highs that we were at in 2021, a foot from last year, 2 feet from 2 years previous. So the water is just continuing to, to come down. And if it were what it was, that middle canal might still be usable, but at this point, more is needed. And I know, like the state just gave an $800,000 grant to assist with some of this muck, but that's not nearly enough. I mean, when we're talking about a project like ours, we're 1,000 cubic yards. We are not doing a full canal dredge. This is 500 feet into the canal, 300 feet into the bay. 25% of it is taking place in the bay. It's a minimal amount. We're at 1,000 cubic yards and $137,000. So it's just, the $800,000, while it's appreciated coming from the state, I hope that it's just the tip of the iceberg and that they can do something to really assist all of these lakefront properties, because we live here in St. Clair Shores and along this lake to be able to use it. And when we can't use it, it's quite frustrating. And not only from a frustration point for not being able to get out there and use your boat, but it's also environmentally, we need to take care of our lakes, because this is our drinking water. Thank you.
Mr. Frederick?
I will add the word roll after the word district.
Yep, and roll, yep, okay.
And I'll-
And you support that,
Yes.
Mr. Rebello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed? Thank you. Been approved. 7-0, thank you. Item 6 is request to adopt an ordinance to ban the sale of kratom. We do have just beforehand, we do have Lauren and Sarah here from the Clair of Southeastern Michigan. They're going to do a little presentation. I think it's good for us and good for our community and our residents to be informed. So thank you for coming and wanting to do a presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and also educate the community. I'm Lauren Lutzman, and this is Sarah.
I'm Sarah Hadar. Nice to see you again.
And we're both from Clair, Southeastern Michigan. I'm the Project Box Coordinator for Macomb County, and Sarah works with the St. Clair Shores Network for Action and Prevention. Next slide. Project Box is a grassroots advocacy group. We educate society on substance use disorder and also substance use-related community concerns. We really try to reduce the stigma around substance use disorders and advocate for the equitable treatment of those with substance use disorders and different legislation for that.
As far as the Shores Network for Action and Prevention Coalition, I was here a couple months ago. I think it was January. So I just wanted to thank the board members that did happen to come. I came here with an invite, and a lot of you showed up. It was a pleasant surprise. So we are a coalition located in St. Clair Shores. We are dealing with substance use prevention measures. That's for the youth and the community as a whole. And we are in and out of different schools within St. Clair Shores. So recently, we've been to Lakeview High School, we've been to South Lake High School, Lakeshore High School. We just do lunch tables where we ask the students questions in regards to like healthy coping mechanisms for mental health. And we ask questions about substance use prevention. And, if they get the questions right, they get a pen or a highlighter. So I wanted to thank you all for, coming to the meeting. If it wasn't for you showing up to the meeting, myself and Lauren wouldn't be here today talking about kratom, because that was a topic of conversation when you joined us for the first meeting. So thank you very much.
So our intention as a substance use prevention provider is to really protect the health and well-being of youth. We educate residents ensuring they have clear, relevant information about the topic, substance, or issue. Our main focus is reducing youth access to drugs and alcohol. We do this through educating on the risks associated with use, addressing social norms, and generating awareness about the ease and availability of drug and alcohol for minors. So our, from a prevention perspective, what we're going to see is sort of an increase in visibility. A lot of signage throughout Macomb County is now advertising kratom. An increase in availability from this year over last year when we did environmental scans really results in sort of a community normalization, including that increased access and exposure for youth. We'll also talk about the inconsistent labeling because there are no regulations on kratom as it stands right now in Michigan. There are a lot of dangers in regard to potency, dosage, contaminants, and other safety measures, So kratom is a plant that is an evergreen shrub. It's grown primarily in Southeast Asia. In small doses, it acts as a stimulant. In large doses, it acts as an opioid. Or has sedative analgesic effects. It acts on the same opioid receptors in the brain. And it's not something that would easily be able to be grown in our climate without some real special greenhouse and fancy gardening tools. 7-OH, or also known as 7-HMG, this is a naturally occurring compound in the kratom plant, but people have taken to synthesizing it and concentrating it. And this is really one of the dangers that we're seeing in the community. The products that we're seeing are approximately 13 times more potent than morphine. It's about 46 times more potent than what's naturally occurring in the metrogenine plant. And it's just being marketed as kratom. The FDA has put out a few different press releases on the dangers of 7-OH. So we also want to acknowledge the data gaps that there are. A lot of questions that I get asked is how popular is this with youth, adolescents, different age groups. Currently, the two main data sources we have for adolescent data is the MiFi, which is the Michigan, hang on. That one I forgot. Michigan Profile for Healthy Youth, and those are done in schools. And then there's also the Monitoring the Future, which in Michigan, U of M does on behalf of the NIH. And currently, there are no questions that are asked about kratom or 7-OH use. We are also just kind of getting caught up with things in terms of calls for poison control. Kratom and 7-OH were actually just added to their list of concerns in the end of 2024. So there are two bills that are currently sitting in the House. House Bill 4969, this was introduced in September. It has been, it has gone through the Committee on Regulatory Reform, and has not really made much progress since they just released a fiscal analysis, I think January 21st, but we haven't really seen much movement on this. This bill would allow for regulation of kratom. So an age requirement, people must be 21 or older to buy any form of it. It would regulate the potency and the availability of synthetic derivatives. It would require licensing through LARA. There's also a taxation piece that that's involved in this, and it establishes different labeling requirements, safety labels, things of that nature. Next slide. We also recently had House Bill 5537 introduced. There are some of the same sponsors and co-sponsors on this bill as the previous House bill. This bill would be a full ban on kratom, including the synthetic derivatives. There are also different levels of violations and different severity of penalties, which is on the next slide, as well as different penalties if somebody was selling to a minor, and if they were, if the violation was a repeat violation. In Clinton Township, we worked with their Board of Trustees, and they have introduced and adopted an ordinance at this point that people must be 21 years of age or older to buy kratom. That does include 7-OH and any other synthetic derivatives that we are starting to see. And it does require posted signage. The Clinton Township Police Department is the one responsible for enforcement on this. And so our environmental scans, how we kind of got involved really in this process was through the Macomb County Executive's Office. We were asked some questions about kratom, and typically we do environmental scans throughout the community, which we talk about, or we observe the substances that are available, how available they are, if they're behind a counter, if they're self-service, what type of advertising is on the building or in the, or inside the building. Do they offer specials, different types of discounts, and the location and proximity of those retailers to schools, daycares, faith-based organizations, things like that. So in Macomb County, what we're seeing, when we did these, we did certain sectors of different communities, but we did full comprehensive scans on Warren, Sterling Heights, and Clinton Townships, and Clinton Township just being the three largest municipalities. Sarah's going to talk to what she saw in St. Clair Shores specifically. But Macomb County-wide, we saw 38% of the retailers sold kratom products. 27% of those were self-service, so they could reach those either kind of by a checkout counter or in some very accessible location where they didn't have to have interaction with a staff member or it wasn't behind a glass case. No retailers that we surveyed had any type of warning labels or potency signage for kratom. Many retailers displayed age requirements for other substances such as nicotine, alcohol, but not for kratom. So this is one of the common displays. We tried to make it as sort of nondescript as possible it could be from any retailer. But the first thing that kind of draws you into that are the bright, colorful packages of the perks. Very exciting kind of packaging, eye-grabbing. It's also near other substances that aren't kratom. There's a popular kids toy up in the top right-hand corner. There's also snacks and limited edition chocolates that are also part of the popular kids toy up there. There's open access to that, so the feel-free bottles on the right side, people can just reach in and grab. Those are also merchandised next to energy drinks, so the potential to not really know what people are ingesting or purchasing is there. The popular kids toy is a Labubu. I don't know if anybody's familiar. I wasn't familiar with that, but it is a very popular kids toy. So next slide, please. This is just another display in between other substances, very visible. This was behind a register. And then this was just in a sort of self-checkout line where somebody could grab it on their way to the cash, to cash out, or it could be accessible for somebody to take with them without paying for it. And here's another self-serve opportunity that's there. And these are common products that we've seen across Macomb County. The top level products are sort of normal, regular candy that probably some of you are familiar with. And then below are the 7-0H products that we are seeing across Macomb County. And I'll let Sarah talk specifically about what she's been seeing in St. Clair Shores.
So I had done several scans in the city of St. Clair Shores for Kratom, and most of them were done in many different retailers, some gas stations, and some smoke shops throughout the city. In one particular smoke shop, they had a Kratom bar. It was not accessible, was behind the counter, but they did have a nifty sheet that kind of talked about all the different Kratom and what it's used for. So maybe you wanted to use it for pain, or maybe you wanted to use it for anxiety. There were different levels. The sheet kind of explained what you could mix and match out of that. And so the Kratom was in different forms. So it was in capsule forms, it was in powder form, and then you could kind of just make your own bag. Again, it wasn't accessible for me. I would have to ask somebody behind the counter to do so. However, that was the first that I've seen. I don't know of any of my other coworkers who had actually seen a Kratom bar. So that was one thing that I saw. The other thing, I had gone into another retailer, and they actually offered me free samples. So obviously I declined. However, they were more than happy to give me free samples to try. I will say this, I did not find any gas stations. Now I didn't go to every gas station. However, I did go to a lot of the gas stations, and I did not find any Kratom in the gas stations that I did go to in St. Clair Shores. Whereas the gas stations that I went to in Warren, there was Kratom there. So, but in most of the smoke shops, if not all of the smoke shops within St. Clair Shores, there was Kratom products that were being sold.
And that's all we have for you, but we're happy to answer any questions you may have on Kratom.
Okay, great, thank you. And I also, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Rusi for spearheading this and putting the whole ordinance together with, I know Mr. Erie was there, but I appreciate your effort and all that. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you first for coming to the meeting tonight. I was one of the council members, along with Dave, Linda, and Ron, who came to the SNAP meeting after we were invited, and you included, the organization talked about some of this product, and I was amazed. I had seen the word, like you said, so you'll see this word on signage. I never really knew what it was. And the variety and prevalence of the different products that this can impact, and they could be selling containing this, was amazing to me. And I think it was called gas station heroin or something as a nickname. And it's just, that's kind of scary. And I knew you had talked about there being some pending legislation up in Lansing, but it's kind of pending. And I thought, well, back in the day, and 2019 doesn't seem like it was that long. It was. Back in the day in 2019, this council was in a similar situation about vaping and e-cigarettes. And it was at a point when legislation restricting that for minors, minor purchases and use was pending up in Lansing, and the police came to us and asked us to do an ordinance during the pendency, restricting the sale and use and possession of e-cigarettes and vaping to minors until Lansing acted. And we did that, and I thought, well, because we did that, we have precedent, you know, we have something we could look at. We've done this type of thing before, waiting for Lansing to act to help regulate this and step in and control this in St. Clair Shores, at least as to minor. Now, I know Clinton Township, you mentioned, Clinton Township's ordinance is only about purchasing it. Ours, actually, the one I drafted that we have before us, because I based it on what we did presidentially with the e-cigarettes and vaping, not only addresses the sale of it to minors, but also the use and possession of minors of this ordinance. So it goes further than Clinton Township's and goes beyond just the sale from retailers to minors. It also takes a further step and also has penalties for the usage of minors of this substance. So that is a difference. Again, I based this on what we had already passed in 2019. I had thought, well, this had been tried and true, went through the local legislative process as to us, matches what we have in our ordinances. So I drafted this based on that as a starting point. However, there are a couple of things I want to bring to administrator's attention that might need a little bit further work. One, I put section X because I didn't know exactly where we wanted to stick this in the scheme of the ordinance code that we have. So that would be something I think administration should give some input on. Where exactly do you want to put this? Our e-vaping cigarette one, I think, is under like what, the fire prevention?
Fire safety regulations.
Fire safety. So this isn't really exactly a good place for it. So we would need to determine where in our ordinances it would make sense to put it. I think we have a miscellaneous like other section that might work, but that is something that we have to do and then update the ordinance, because right now, every time I reference a section, I have section X, subsection C or whatever. So I took the definition for kratom from Clinton Townships, which you can, this is a question for you guys. Right now it says any means and refers to a part of the plant, including its extracts, derivatives, or products derived therefrom. I want to confirm that also includes then from derivatives the synthetic, so it includes the 7-OH and the synthetic forms as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, good, because we want to make sure that's covered. I figure because Clinton Township had it drafted this way, that was probably a safe definition, but I wanted to confirm that. So we want to make sure we get that. One thing I did want to bring up too, and again, I based this on what we did in 2019 as to e-cigarettes and vaping. The penalty clauses as to minors are a little, I'm not too happy with them. They're directly taking what we did with the e-cigarettes and vaping. However, since then, we have taken steps to streamline the penalties we have in terms of, not having them contained within each little ordinance, instead be referring to an ordinance clause. Right now, there's a tiered system in here. I kept it that way because, again, it was a tried and true ordinance we passed already back in 2019. That said, we have made changes in the ordinances, not to that particular ordinance, but into other ordinances. So we might want to streamline some of the penalties as to sales to minors. I didn't just reference the penalty clauses we have elsewhere because, again, this is about minors, so I'm not sure if we wanted to treat them a little bit differently. This does involve community service and the like, which, because it's about specifically minors, we might want to treat it a little bit differently than we would if it was something that would apply to adults as well. As to retailers, it's a misdemeanor, but as to minors, there's a tiered system right now. We might want administration to give us some feedback on that. And we do have, like Clinton Township has, I know you mentioned signage, there's no signs. We do have in here, just like we did for the e-vaping and the e-cigarettes and vaping, signs required concerning sales to minors. Ours is a little bit more wordy than Clinton Township's because, again, I wanted to mirror what we currently have. I don't like template ordinances. I like ordinances that look like what we've passed in the past, so there's some continuity. So I took the same type of thing. Kratom sales are restricted to individuals 21 and older. The purchase of a kratom product by a minor under 21 years of age and the provision of a kratom product to a minor prohibited by law. A minor who unlawfully purchases or uses a kratom product is subject to criminal penalties. So it's a little bit more wordy, but it fulfills the same, I think, in a better way, the same thing about warning people. One of the things we wouldn't want to get with administration, but I know you identified some retailers already selling this stuff. Thankfully, it didn't seem like we were as impacted as other cities, but we would need to get the word out to the retailers who are selling this, who are considering selling this, about what the changes are, what the restrictions are in the signage. So we would need administration to be involved in that. There's also a parental responsibility clause, which I like. That's what we also did with e-cigarettes and vaping too, to put some additional responsibility on the parents for this usage and possession by minors. So again, a couple things for administration, figuring out where we want to put this, and maybe streamline some of the penalty provisions in accordance and in line with what we've done in other ordinances, not the e-cigarette vaping. Again, this also involves minor use, so we might want to take that into consideration as well. But I wanted us to have a starting point, and rather than just direct administration to do it, I took the initiative to do it so we have the starting point for discussion. If this is something we want to consider, I think based upon previous discussions it is. But in terms of the forum, this can be a starting point for us to take action and help protect the community until Lansing acts, and hopefully in a more restrictive fashion too. But we can take care of ourselves first. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Yeah, totally agree with how we could potentially streamline in terms of the penalty clauses, and I was actually conferring with Chief Allen beforehand about the penalty clauses that are within the fire safety regulations that deal with cigarettes and e-cigarettes and vaping. They actually don't use those clauses. They write the citation, turn it over to the court does their process after that. So, so I do think in the future we can probably clean up that section as well, because I think when I went through and revamped all the penalty clauses and all those, I just treated fire safety regulations as property. So everything was a civil infraction, did not realize that was buried in the middle of all that. So totally agree, we can streamline that. And I think it's chapter 26, it's kind of our catch-all miscellaneous. You can go right at the end, and then hopefully if Lansing takes action and, you know, puts the regulations in place for the entire state, you know, maybe we'll make it mute, makes it easier to take out later rather than embedding it in something else. But really, this is something that Lansing needs to keep working to get ahead of in that, because even in terms of the crypto issue that was talked about at the beginning of the meeting, it's like these are statewide, commerce issues that the state has to regulate, and the state has to put the rules in place, rather than leaving every municipality of everyone create your own rule and that. And unfortunately, we've got good examples we can base this on, but this is really regulating commerce has to come from the state. So we'll put our restrictions in place, totally in favor of doing that. We'll get it cleaned up.
They've been trying to write it into legislation since 2018 but have not been successful just yet.
There. And just from everything you presented, which is, the fact of how much of it is so marketed to kids, just all from the marketing packages they have up there, right? It's all marketed to kids. And it goes to the committee and it sits. Now, they're in session 3 days a week, most weeks a year. They're not on long recesses or anything in Lansing. So why some of these things just kind of sit in a committee, who knows? But that would really be helpful for them to start to figure out some of these issues. But going forward with this, all in favor of it, and I'll help clean up with all the penalty clauses and get that streamlined.
Ms. Burgess.
Yeah, I was telling Candace at the beginning of the meeting.
Can you put your mic on?
I'm sorry. I was telling Candace at the beginning of the meeting what a great job that she did on this ordinance. It's a very solid ordinance, and I was at that meeting with you guys as well, and I was shocked. Never heard of it. I don't have any kids that are home anymore. Mine are all grown. But, I like that it's going to be banned under 21, regular ID verifications, signage requirements for retailers, penalty for the sellers, and minors enforced by the police department. Now, I do have a few questions about it, maybe something that will be added to it. Will compliance checks be done similar to like alcohol and tobacco? Who will be handling this? Is it going to be just the police or code enforcement?
On the enforcement's police.
Okay. Now, will the local retailers, will they be required to register or disclose that they sell Kratom products? That was one of the questions I had.
I was gonna say, so we wouldn't, I mean, according to the ordinance now, they wouldn't be required to register. The state doesn't have any jurisdictions right now. Eventually, we're hoping that Laura will put that underneath their liquor control and they would have to register. But currently, our ordinance would be very hard to make them register. As we mentioned earlier, it would probably be a notification to any of the smoke shops and to the gas stations of saying, hey, here's our other new ordinances, rules and regulations. You can't sell to minors. So that would be distributed. But as I said as well, code enforcements can't offer misdemeanors and that kind of stuff. That would have to be from the law enforcement. So any checks that we would do would be completely run through the police department.
Now, I know that probably a lot of these places that are selling this might not know exactly what's going on. So is there going to be an education, like something we can drop off to these places that are selling it now to let them know how bad this is? I mean, I'm just looking at that it's unregulated. You know, you get those commercials all the time, you know, for this drug or that drug that you can buy, you know, through this TV offer, buy 2, get 1 free, and they're not regulated as well. When it comes to anything health, like vitamins, none of those things are even regulated. And then this scares me. It scares me a lot for the children in our community. You know, we love our community, we love our children, and I don't want to have a child that we love and know here, something happened to them because, you know, this is out there. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, is there going to be any kind of, like, are we going to do, like, spot checks or anything like this? Because these people are selling right now to minors, and they're going to get this thing and go, oh, okay, no one's really going to be checking on us.
Oh, no, we would.
No, we would definitely have our, just like
Police.
our police officers are right now
Absolutely.
doing inspections and checks. They'll
Yes.
continue to do that.
Undercover.
All right, well, yeah, I know that our responsibility as council and being a part of a city that we love is the health and safety concerns of our children. So I think that this is really gonna get us there, but we need to get Lansing. I don't know what we can do as far as making phone calls, writing letters, to make sure this gets, you know, pushed through earlier than later. Great ordinance.
Get in touch with Speaker of the House, Matt Hall.
Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, a couple points here. You know, had something else I was going to mention, but, you know, John also brought up the idea that this really should be, it's another place where the states drop the ball. And I know that we have individual reps and senators who have sponsored this bill, and I'm thankful for them. But I think the answer to that question is twofold. One, this state government is broken. And number two, lobbying efforts to prevent this from being regulated. You really only need to look at all the things the state loves to do that will let you waste your time and waste your life, and all of the things that local cities try to do to create a better life, a better quality of life, that the state is very anxious to take away our powers on. In fact, what number agenda item this is? Agenda number 9?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about how the state is trying to take away local control from zoning and let the state control it because they do such a bang-up job at regulating things. So there's the answer to your question. Our state government is broken, and there's just so much lobbying money, and honestly, it's bipartisan because they all have the hands out for the lobby money and everything like that. What I was originally going to make the point is that we've talked a lot here about rules and regulations and paragraphs and things like that, but can you offer some, you know, maybe some stories, some case studies, because we really haven't heard a lot about what the effects are. I know we've kind of alluded to opioid, but maybe there's a story you can tell or something like that.
I myself am a person in long-term recovery, and probably about 8 years ago, I met a person through, you know, one of the recovery meetings I was at, and she was overcoming her opioid addiction, and unbeknownst to a lot of us in the meeting, it was a small meeting and we were pretty close. She had started using Kratom, and we just noticed the behavioral changes. Very kind of talkative, very impulsive, just not the person that we knew. And over time, she kind of stepped away from going to as many meetings, but we still kept in touch. And there was a time that she was looking to get treatment to get off the kratom. And it's was more challenging than it is now. But she ended up passing away from using the synthetic concentrated form of kratom. I've talked to I do trainings for like the social workers through the Macomb County Health Department. They're seeing a lot of babies that are born addicted to kratom, and the withdrawal from this is much worse than it is from opioids. There's also no medical protocol to treat babies or adults that are going through kratom withdrawal, so that's another challenge. I know a lot of people who have sort of used this, they started taking a medication for opioid use disorder, and then to get off that medication for opioid use disorder, they sort of transitioned to using kratom. Some people are transitioning to something else once they realize that they're now addicted to kratom. There's a lot of challenges with the Michigan Treatment Court. I'll be doing a presentation to them in May. I could send
Thank
you some case studies that are peer
It doesn't get more
reviewed.
serious than someone
I
passed
just wanted to
away.
kind of interrupt Lauren. At CARE, we also have peer recovery coaches. So both myself and Lauren, again, we're both long-term recovery, and we were both peer recovery coaches prior to the positions that we have right now. So we do talk with employees in regards to kratom that are actually sourced in the hospital. So they're peer recovery coaches in the hospital. And what they've said about patients that are coming in there with a kratom addiction is that they're finding that it's very difficult for them to really stop using, and they're having a harder time that they've seen in the past, so.
There's
One other-
also challenges to them accessing treatment because of how how CPT codes are. I don't really need to get into the weeds on this, but they can't really get to treatment for kratom withdrawal. They have to be, it generally has to be coded to some other substance, whether.
Something worse.
Well, I guess one other question that I wanted to ask, when you did the environmental survey at St. Clair Shores, it mentioned 37% of retailers. I'm going to guess by that you're probably talking about gas stations, smoke shops. I'm going to think hopefully there weren't supermarkets or stores. Are there any stores that we might not expect that would sell this product?
The stores, the locations that we used for these environmental scans were the same retailers that we use for our sign-our checks. So they're the ones that we do vendor education for nicotine sales, and we work with local police departments to sort of do kind of stings with those, but first we go out and do vendor education. So it was that list that we used to do the environmental scans. We didn't, I have it on the list of things to check out, like the vitamin stores and health food stores, and to see how prevalent it's, or how available it may be in those stores. But to my knowledge, no large chain retailers like a Meijer or a Walgreens or any of those, we haven't seen those products in there, but.
Okay. Well, the final thing I was going to mention before I give you a yes vote is that just, I noticed one of the products in particular here had the slogan on the side that said, "Chill the day away." And, one of the things that I try to educate my own kids about the pervasive marijuana and kratom and all these types of drugs is that, hey, one of the things that these do is they change your sense of time. And they make it feel like that you're getting the day over with. And what you need is a fulfilling life. I know myself, I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day to try to get all the things done I'm trying to get done. And don't you know, I don't know if the right people are watching this right now that need this message, but don't ever wish your life away. You know, a guy that I worked with one time heard someone say like, oh man, I wish it was Friday. And the guy just jumped in and said, don't ever wish your life away. Don't wish your time on earth away. So, and that stuck with me 30 years later. I remember that. So that's all I have.
Mr. Erie, before I go to Mr. Rubello?
I'm sorry.
No, you go first.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a real quick comment before I make some comments on this proposed ordinance. Knowing that this was coming up over the past week, I decided to drive down Harper and go into the first place that I saw that was actually advertising Kratom in their front window. And when I went in, there was nobody else except the retailer. And I asked some questions about it. It was certainly available. It was shopliftable even. It was so easy to have access to. And the milligrams go from about 25 milligrams up to 500 milligrams. So I asked the retailer, I said, well, I've never tried Kratom before. What would you recommend for somebody like me? He said, well, if you've never tried it, he said, I highly recommend that you start with 25 milligrams. And I'm a grown man, and he recommended 25 milligrams, but right next to it, or a couple of places away, I could get 500 milligrams, even if I were 21, and that would be 20 times the dosage of what he recommended for somebody who had never tried it before. So I asked him if he has many teenagers come in to buy it. He said, well, they try, but to his credit, he said he doesn't sell to anybody over 21, but whether that's true or not, who knows? But that was an interesting experience I had. Just a couple of comments on the ordinance, and I too thank Councilperson Rusi for the efforts that she went through. As one can see, this is substantially more detailed than Clinton Township's. It addresses two things: the sale and the possession. And it does have a provision in it that talks about affirmative defenses to somebody, a seller that gets charged with an offense. I would like to see that potentially removed. I know it's in our vaping ordinance also. I'm not crazy about it being there. Basically, what it says is that a retailer who sells this product can claim as a defense to it that he, I'll quote, had in force at the time of the arrest or the charge and continues to have in force a written policy to prevent the sale of Kratom products to persons under 21 years of age, and that the defendant enforced and continues to enforce the policy. Well, quite frankly, if it was enforced and continuing to be enforced, he wouldn't be charged in the first place. So, plus, that affirmative defense provision is, honestly speaking, it's really something you see in ordinances that are, quite frankly, different than this kind of an ordinance. I would like to see that removed. I think it adds a burden onto the city attorney's office also.
But we don't want it to burden our city attorney.
Well, we wouldn't want to do that.
No, I'm fine with removing that. I only included that because it was included in our e-cigarette and vaping.
And as he talks, I think we also think about maybe we need this consideration because we've had quite a bit, maybe needs to come back to the next meeting, right? That's what I'm kind of thinking, that we got to maybe clean it up, then he can get it out to us and we can get it at the next meeting, but quickly here, so the next meeting. But I know Mr. Rebello's next up, and I want to
Just one more thing, I'll let you go. I would also say the signage needs to be reworked. It says, a minor who unlawfully purchases or uses a Kratom product is subject to criminal penalties, yet our penalties are all civil infractions, so that would need to be changed.
Well, that was also from our e-vaping and.
Exactly, and that needs to be
So
changed.
that would, yeah, that would be a mistake in that one too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Rebello.
Okay, a couple things, and then the kids' toys, this stuff sort of puzzles me. I like everyone else, I didn't know what this stuff was. I came home and I was like talking about.
Is your mic on?
I was talking about, you know, after we came out of the meeting, I never even heard of this stuff, and it was like, went home, I had a talk with my daughter a little bit, and she's like, something about Superman, and she's like, you're saying it wrong, you're saying Krypton or something, so, the Bubble Yum, That's not the gum, is it? The bubble?
No, these are
children.
good. These are the ones that look like those.
These are the ones
God,
just show,
okay, I
yeah,
can't
they're
tell.
showing just the
I can't tell
similarities
what the
between
thing-
stuff that's
I would buy
okay and stuff
that.
that's
I
not.
wouldn't even know the difference. Okay.
Yeah, no, lemon heads are still safe, Dave.
Okay, thank God. You might be taking a few of them over there.
I mean, I
Lemon
will
heads.
say that, as far as the marketing is concerned, I mean, they're obviously marketing to youth. I mean, we do a whole vape prevention course that talks about how the marketing is marketed to the youth, because if you're looking for vape juice, right, it's marketed the same way. So it's trying to attract, right, youth customers.
Yeah, that's not right that they do that. We don't need this stuff on our streets in St. Clair. So we run a pretty darn good town, all of us up here, and I intend to keep it that way. And I was looking, some of the stuff's already banned, like banned in 7 countries, or 7 cities already. Is that right?
States?
States.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Banned in several states, yes.
Okay.
And some states started out with a full ban and have gone to regulation.
Okay.
But yes, and also different countries have banned kratom,
Bad
yes.
withdrawal symptoms, all that type of stuff from this? Okay. I don't know if, what is it, a hallucinogen or something? Or what does this stuff do?
So it works on the same opioid receptors in the brain that opioids do. In small
Yeah.
doses, it's a stimulant. In large doses, it's
Okay.
a sedative and analgesic.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And so I guess, I mean, we got a little direction here, right? We want to go down a road of, what are we going to do with the penalty and streamlining penalties and so forth? So I think you mentioned it's got to come back up here at some
I think we
point.
should.
So I'll
Mr.
just-
Frederick's got his pen up, so if you were requesting, because I think we need to table and then take the considerations and some of that, and then.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was
Bring
going
back
with
a
it.
quick
let
ordinance
Mr.
for us to
Yeah,
pass.
but
Yeah.
Mr., because you can't, there'd be no discussion after tabling. So you good, Mr. Rebello?
Mayor, I'm great. Yep,
Okay,
thanks.
Mr. Frederick.
Just 2 quick things. First off, does Narcan work against us?
So Narcan has, the potential for naloxone sensitivity is there. It works on 7-OH in rodents. The human studies have not quite caught up with that yet, but there's anecdotal evidence that it works on 7-OH.
So high
It's-
concentrations of this, it
Yes.
might work. Okay.
It's, doesn't seem to be successful in just regular kratom overdoses. But again, they're still trying to get some significant data together to
Okay.
determine that one way or another.
And in your scans or surveys or whatever you did outside, what did this stuff cost?
It varied. So it varied per consistency. So if it was in a powder form, I mean, it was starting anywhere from $25 and up. I think if you went to the retailer that was serving as a kratom bar and you could make your own consistency, right? It maybe had a lower price point than that, but most of it was $25 and up.
A lot of the 7-OH pills that we're seeing were somewhere between like $7 to $20, depending on,
That's too cheap.
amount
Kids
and-
today could easily, without even thinking about it, and then you've got peer pressure and all that other stuff that goes into that, so. And one last thing, you said you went to the schools and you just did table side with kids, and was that well-received, and how many kids did you get to?
Absolutely. We didn't really touch upon kratom when we go to the school. Like for instance, tomorrow I'll be at Lakeview. And so we go to the high schools and we talk about different substance use and we talk about coping mechanisms that they can use against substance use. It's well received. We've probably spoken to at least over 250 students within the 3 schools. And I would say that was since October.
All right, well, that's the best news I've heard tonight, that we're actually doing something with the kids, so. I would move to table, and hopefully bring it back after Mr. Urias looked at it, and also possibly looked at the vaping stuff too, to make corrections in that.
Moved by Mr.
Support.
Frederick. To table, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, hopefully we'll get that back to the next
Thanks, you
meeting.
guys. Yeah.
7-0, thank you. Item 7 is been removed. There is still a little issue with the legal description, so that might come back the next meeting or the following one after that. So, number 8 is request approval of the resolution to submit grant application under local bridge program and commit local match. Mike Freckleton, city engineer. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course. Good evening. So, as you know, we recently awarded our bridge maintenance repair project to RAM Construction, and that project is consisting of a lot of surface, deck, and joint repairs. So with a couple of our bigger bridges, the one on Jefferson over the Milk River and on Rosedale over the Milk River, there are a handful of substructure repairs and kind of in the water scour prevention repairs that do still need to be done. And so MDOT has a local bridge program that, does provide federal funding with with a local match. And in order to help us do some of those needed repairs in the future, we are looking to apply to that. And, so we are asking, council to approve our match amount along with the, required engineering, design, and, construction fees that go with that. So I guess, I'll open it up to questions.
So right now you have the estimated at 958,000. Is that the way I understand it for those two bridges?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And then our match would be what? Tell us what that would be.
Our match is 5% of that, but then we also need to take into account the engineering and design services. So the 5% match and those services would be the $275,877.
Fantastic program if we were accepted.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's worthy to go after this. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. So I'll be a little Debbie Downer on that one. Because this is similar to like the TIP program, right? Where everyone submits applications, but then there's some other committee that makes a determination of which one gets funding, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Well, MDOT is the committee,
right?
On
okay.
that, whoever within them, yeah.
Right. So and they'll have some evaluation criteria they'll apply to it. So really, the concern would be of, since this would not be for these type of repairs until probably construction season 2029, 3 years from now.
Yes.
Assuming structurally the understructure of the bridge is fine until then, at least, right?
Yes, 100%.
So, okay.
Yeah, all our bridges are in what we would consider fair to good condition.
Okay.
There are things that we recognize, hey, these need to be maintained, sooner rather than later. We'd like to address those.
Okay. And then if we don't get that, then this would still be eligible that we could use our Act 51 dollars to pay for it ourselves if we do find there is a need. So, because we got to put, up front, we got to put engineering costs out there, right? We got to have them all evaluated, schematics drawn, all the engineering work done, and we have to put that out ourselves and pay for that.
Yes.
So then we'll have the schematics all done. So whether we get it or not, we can then make a decision that year. Should we go ahead, or is it still good another couple of years? The engineering's still good in that, right? So.
Yes. We could set aside that part, I guess, whenever for the engineering aspect of it. And then, yes, it would just be when are we deciding to allocate the money to do the actual repairs? Are we waiting in hopes that we get this grant, or are we just going to do it, so.
Okay. And do you have any idea after we submit it, how long it takes for them to announce their program about which ones will be funded that year?
I don't.
You think what, will we know within a year, basically?
Within
We're
a
looking
year,
at
yeah,
longer
within a
term
year,
budget-
yes. Yeah.
Budgeting, so,
Yes.
okay, that's good. Great, thanks, Mike.
Mr. Rubello.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we have to do these inspections every 2 years?
2 years.
We have to do them every 2 years,
Correct.
even if they were in perfect condition.
That is correct.
Okay, because you look at this and sometimes you go, well, why not maybe every 3 or 4 years? Trying to extend that period out.
It's whatever the state wants.
But the
They
state
set it
says
as 2 years, so.
Every 2 years.
Correct.
Okay, and you said those are all in decent shape?
Yes.
And I guess it's preventive maintenance, is that what you call it?
Yes, I would call it more preventative maintenance than
And
you
we're
know,
being
like than
proactive,
critical repairs. I mean, of the maintenance, we can still have, hey, this is a higher priority repair, this is a lower priority repair, but yes, nothing with our bridges at this point in time is, you know, critical. We don't have to address anything for like immediate safety. But obviously we'd like to continue to maintain them to a point where we don't ever have that.
Okay, yeah, and, okay. Those bridges, how old are they? 70 years old, the one over the?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know how old it is.
No, well, the Milk River's been, it was updated and done some structural repairs, I think, in 2001, 2002, something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
I take that back, yes.
It's that time,
Jefferson
so-
over Milk River, 2001.
There you go.
And then, let's see what they say for Rosedale here.
I guess my point is.
1959.
Okay, so yeah, you're
getting a
coming
lot-
up basically on 70 years on that.
Right, we
Okay.
get a lot more traffic on Jefferson, obviously, first Rosedale.
Okay, it's just one of those things you look and go, wow, it's, you know, it's something that looks like you can extend it out a little bit, but I guess not. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions about the program, I guess. Do you know how much money is available for them to distribute? That might not be knowable at this point. I was just wondering if they've indicated anything.
Were we given that information of how much? Yeah, I mean, I could get you that information if I find that out, but I
Okay.
do not know off the top of my head. I'm
And do you
sorry.
know if there are like different rounds of funding, or will they just be, you know, releasing who gets the funding and who doesn't all at once?
I believe that is how it works, yes. It's
which
everyone
one?
turns in their applications and then, yeah, they make the decision. and
One
that's
time.
how you-
One time, not different rounds of it?
Correct.
And do you know if they do like a scoring component like we do with the Parks and Rec grants? Sometimes they give us, if we don't get the grant, they give us a scoring, then we can improve the application by adding different things. Do you know if there's any of that element in terms of how they determine who receives the grants?
Internally there, I'm sure there is. I do not know if MDOT releases that for this bridge program.
There's a good thing about like the Parks and Rec grants.
Yeah.
They do the scoring, and then we can always approve the application and try again if
Yeah, no, it's good
turned down,
feedback to
so.
know. I agree.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, if you could keep us updated on the progress of this. This is something I don't recall doing in the past, so it's, I think, new to all of us. So, no, this would be, oh, and there's also one typo on the resolution, at least one, but the one I saw is in the city clerk's name is ABY.
I
There's
did,
two
yeah.
Bs. Yeah, so just before it's filled out. Thank you.
A motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Ms. Rusi to approve the resolution supporting the submission of the grant application to the local bridge program and a committee to match funding in the amount of $275,877. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, 7-0. Item 9 is request. Thank you. Request to adopt a resolution in opposition of House Bills 5529, 55. Huh? Okay.
Sorry, I was just gonna.
Okay, yeah, you bumped my arm and then I didn't know.
I'm sorry, I
stopped
just
in the
meant
middle.
that, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Lent, you can go forward here. For writing this in.
Maybe he wants to be mayor for a day.
Right, can I sign up for that?
You can.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of the calls.
All right, I get them already. You give them to me, all right, pretty much, no. So, as council has mentioned at our last council meeting, the request to adopt a resolution in opposition of the House bills 5529 through 5532. And then we've also now included House bills 5581 through 5585. Also, I did send everybody here an email link directly from the MML to be able to add all of our names individually. So we do have SimCog, MML, and a lot of the legislative branch is still working with us as well, our local reps, to be able to oppose this. So in front of you, though, is the resolution, so we can actually give that information to our local legislative branch to also send up there and help us in this battle.
I know I talked about it in the last meeting and asked for this, but why don't you go over what they're trying to do? And Mr. Vitale talked a little bit, but Tell them what they want. I mean, they want, at the end of the day, they want to take local control away from us.
Yeah, the proposed legislation, if enacted, would preempt local zoning provisions, strip local elected officials of their decision-making authority, dismiss years of thoughtful and consistent community planning work, and the amount to clear override from Lansing, the local voters, and our local control that we have in regards to our zoning and our planning.
I mean, local communities take a lot of pride in having our local control here. We believe we know what the community wants. I'm not saying we always do. We're not perfect, but we think we have a better pulse on those kinds of things. And we take pride in having local control. And then when they come in here and then say, well, this is what you got to have, and this is where you got to put a lot, and this is the size of your lot. I mean, it's ridiculous. These people go up in Lansing, and then they come back and try to jam this down your throat. It's unconscionable. Mr. Karen?
No, why don't you
Huh?
Why don't you have Ms. Rusi go first, since she wrote the resolution?
Okay. Ms. Rusi?
Hey, thank you. Dustin sent me a draft, I think was that just a template or something? Because it had a lot of very generalized language. I added to this, I also added the 5581 and 5585. Once you read the resolution, I actually go forward and address what the bills actually do as compared to, and what they would do if enacted as compared to the provisions we currently have in place and how it would just upend our ordinances. This is just one example. I mean, if this would impact all the communities of Michigan, it would upend a lot, but I focused on St. Clair Shores specifically because I thought the resolution would be more meaningful if it actually addresses how much things would change if it was passed. So basically, as you can see, it was set forward. I like this part too. Whereas this proposed legislation, if enacted, would preempt local zoning provisions, strip locally elected officials of their decision-making authority. This part I like. Dismiss years of thoughtful and consistent community planning work, which I think just can't be emphasized enough. Consistent. We have a master plan. We have years of decision. We have, these ordinances that we have in place are brand new. They're what our community was basically built on. And when we change them, they go through a process where we get local input from people. We get input from the planning commission. We get our city attorney, and we really go through, sometimes we do surveys and things like that, and we really try to make sure we're making decisions that are consistent with the best interests of the community and what everything has done and what we've planned on doing. And this is just the one size fits all, fits none, right, as they say. So anyway, just some examples of how this would change things. 5529 and 5530 would preempt local zoning. And I want to thank Liz too for her input on what the current ordinances are. So we got that stated here, but, okay. So 5529 and 5530 would prohibit ordinances requiring minimum parcel sizes of more than 1,500 square feet for detached single-family residents, where the parcel is accessible will be served by local utilities. So it would say you can't do more, a higher minimum parcel size than 1,500 square feet. Well, right now in St. Clair Shores, the minimum zoning lot size per unit for single-family residents is 6,000 square feet. So that's a pretty big change, right? That's a big change. Then we also say that 5581, this is why I added the 5580s too, because they're all part and parcel of these things trying to do the same aim. And the aim, the sponsors say this is to, allow us to have more housing, et cetera, again, but at the expense of what? So 5581 preempts local zoning provisions by prohibiting a minimum area requirement greater than 500 square feet for a dwelling. So you can't have an ordinance that says your house, if you build a house, you can't have a minimum area requirement greater than 500 square feet. So 500 square feet is minimum per house. Right now in St. Clair Shores, the minimum area requirements generally are 1,064 square feet for dwellings with basements and 1,120 for those without basements. So that's a big change too. That's,
Imagine a 500 square foot house.
yeah, that is, our houses at minimum are double that size. 5582, 5585 would allow mobile homes in any residential zone. Right now, St. Clair Shores ordinances, they're restricted to B3, general business zoning, and only when certain requirements are met. This would just say you can have mobile homes in any residential zone. 5583 mandate setback requirements. I won't go, this one's a little bit more intricate, so I won't get into this, but it would change the minimum setback requirements we have and mandate setback requirements that are lesser, and this would impact St. Clair Shores, as stated. 55A4 mandates duplexes or permitted use in any district where single-family residences are allowed and cannot be subjected to any procedures different from a single-family residence. In St. Clair Shores, right now, we only allow duplexes in residential zones that permit two-family or multifamily low-rise units. And then this one's big. 5585 mandates that municipalities must allow accessory dwelling units by right in any residential zoning district without regards to density calculations. You also can't conduct public hearings on these things, and you can't impose any additional parking or owner occupancy requirements on these units. Right now, we totally prohibit these things. And if we ever wanted to, I would imagine we want to take into consideration things like public hearings and parking requirements and owner occupancy requirements, and not just you could have this anywhere, minimum lot sizes. We would be taking into account a lot of different things that we would pass, I think, if we do ever want to go down this path with input from people. We would have considerations and make a very St. Clair Shores specific ordinance for our specific lands and zoning and et cetera, et cetera. This would just say you can have them anywhere, no public hearings, no additional parking requirements, no owner occupancy requirements. So, as you can see, this would upend, and that's not all the changes, but I just focus on some of them with the bullet points. That would be a huge change in a lot of our different ordinances that, again, have been built by years and years and applied years and years and years of consistent decision-making by people on our planning commission, by us, by administration in the planning department, by our ZBA when you do want some of these variances to take effect. So anyway, that's why I wrote that down in here, because it forces an ill-conceived one-size-fits-all planning approach upon communities, and you could see examples of how that would work in St. Clair Shores at least. So, and I also have this being sent to members. Some of the bills are before the House Regulatory Committee, Reform Committee. Some are before the House Government Operations Committee. I have this resolution going to members of both of those committees, and also to our local state reps and Senator Kevin Hertel too, urging them to respect and support local governance by opposing these bills. So that's the overview of what these bills are, and I think why it would be in our best interest and the residents' interest to join many, thankfully now, other local officials, local governments, and the organizations who are part of, like SEMCOG and MML, and standing against this and saying, hey, leave these decisions up to us and not just impose this one-size-fits-all, one-size-fits-none solution. I'm putting quotes around that, solution upon all of us, so.
And it's hard to believe that this could pass with the amount of
Right.
communities and organizations against
And
this.
that's part of the point, if we join our voices to this, and I think we all probably sign that individual link. Thank you for sending that, Dustin, but this is just another formalized point of opposition to really emphasize to our local, our state reps and our state elected leaders, don't go against the will of the people of the city who have spoken through us and, through our predecessors there for decades and decades and decades of passing ordinances, applying ordinances, and doing master plans, that this is not necessarily the goal we want for our community.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks to Councilwoman Rusi for putting those examples in there, because I think that this does stand out from the sample one that MML and SEMCOG's had out there to actually show what the actual differences are. What does 1,500 square foot lot size compared to 6,000 square foot lot size as a minimum that we would have, and the other examples that are in here. So it really does show how far out of whack these bills really are. I was on a call with SEMCOG, the Southeast Michigan Coalition of Governments, on Friday. We're talking specifically about this, and there's already over 2,000 elected officials around the state have already signed that the link saying opposing all these bills? 2,000.
It's a lot.
I don't know if we have, it's like, how many total municipal officials are there in the state? 2,500, 3,000, right? So, again, unfortunately, we probably know why some of these come in. You know, you have the lobbyists that are up there. They want to make it out that, well, you know, housing's not available because you got these municipalities that have thrown all these rules on people and they have these regulations and that, and it's like they want to make it like, well, every individual other government is the problem, and so they're going to try to have their one size fits all that fits none solution, try to jam that down everybody else. But I think with the incredible amount of opposition that's there, don't think the bills are going to go anywhere. They'll probably die in committee, but it's very important for us to be on the record, say that we, fully support local control, that these are the decisions that we're expected to make as a body, our planning commission is expected to make, and our zoning board is expected to make, in terms of enforcing our ordinances, which are, they have to comply with state law and that. So there's already legal precedent in place that puts limits on what we can put into ordinances. We can't do whatever we want. We can't put limits on everything that we want. But these bills are just so far out there in terms of taking away control. So fully support. Thanks for all the work and all the examples, and it really does clearly show how far out of whack these bills are in terms of what requirements they would force down to everybody. So thank you for that.
Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, just one thing I'll add to this, and, perhaps this even serves as the basis for a legal challenge should something this bad actually ever get passed, is that the Department of Housing and Urban Development at the federal level, HUD itself, has guidelines for how many square feet should be available per occupant in a home. So if you want to put 4 people in a house, if you use the HUD guidelines, which are bare minimums, that's 360 square feet. If you don't have 4 people live in a house, now a 500 square foot house, you're then left with 140 square feet to make your kitchen, your bathroom. Presumably you'd like hallways in this house, and you're not going to put your furnace outside. So you have to have room for mechanical space, hallways, bathrooms. You got to find that in 140 square feet. So these are just comically bad, and the scary thing is that I hear this same talk, not just at the state level. I hear it on national level talk radio and things like that. So there's money behind this, pushing this. So definitely in favor of this, and we'll be voting for it.
Mr. Ribello.
Yep, obviously, I'm in favor of keeping the ball in our court here in St. Clair Shores. But I had a chance to talk to the guy that actually was an author of this bill, and I'm like, what are you getting at, And we went through basically a lot of stuff that we already talked about, so I'm not going to rehash it. But some of the stuff in here that he's talking about, has to do with housing and a housing crisis and that type of thing. And that's sort of really why he was bringing it up. Because some of the individual things he's talking about that's in that bill, and they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to get it to the state, but we're going to, I'm sure, prevail in keeping it right here. Some of the stuff, and this, again, it was vehemently supported to deny this at the Michigan Municipal League. I had a chance to go there for a couple days last week. So I guess he's trying to challenge some of the municipalities to look at some of the ordinances they have to try to streamline things a little bit easier, from permits and, the larger homes versus the smaller homes, setbacks, mandatory parking. So some of the stuff, duplexes, some of the stuff that he's talking about, though we want to keep it here, are pretty good topics to discuss maybe at some point if we want to do anything different, if it makes sense now to change some of this stuff. with the help of our planning or our zoning boards. So I think some of the stuff in here, like I said, is good discussion stuff, and maybe we don't change anything, but maybe we can tune something up to the changing times. So again, the Michigan Municipal League was vehemently wanted us to sign. They were passing petitions out, and yeah, like John said, I don't know how many local politicians there are, but a lot of them signed that thing. So again, my point is to just maybe look at some of this stuff, keeping it in our ballpark and between our lines.
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. So, like all of us do here when we get something like this comes down from the state, I picked up the phone and called some of our reps, and they don't think it's going to get out of committee. That was the best news that I heard. And even one of the guys that signed on as a co-sponsor didn't even know what he was signing on to. Did it as a favor to somebody else who signed on to one of his. But it's like, you guys.
Make sure he says thank you.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I know. It's, to the point where, some of the state's broken, right? So I'm definitely in favor of this. We got to keep it here. In fact, we need to have them give us some more stuff like golf carts and not restricting that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of other things that they have restricted that we should have more control over. So I'll make the motion. And Candace, thanks again for pulling that together.
I'll support it.
I'll move to approve the resolution of opposition of House Bills 5929 through 5532 and House Bills 5581 through 5585.
I'll support that.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi. Mr. Vitale.
The only thing I was going to say is for the council members that have talked to people who are sponsors on this bill, you might want to remind them that there are thousands of available acres of land for redevelopment in the city of Detroit, served by the Great Lakes Water Authority, that putting more people paying into that system would actually help lower potentially water rates. So maybe look at that. So that's all I have on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Thank you.
I like your big picture, thank you.
Item 10 is bids, contracts, purchase orders, request to award the 2026 local street reconstructions. Mr. Freckleton.
Yes, so for this year's local street reconstruction program, we are looking to do Playview Street from Harper to Jefferson, Shady Lane from Pallister to Harper, and then a very, very small section of Statler, kind of at Winton, right by 94 there. It just needs to be done. It's been neglected. All of these streets were rated 2s on the PASER ratings, and of, the other factors that we look into, they were like over 75% were in that poor condition. We've received numerous, concerns and complaints about these streets, and so they were good candidates for our program this year. Florence came in as the low bid on this project. We met with Florence twice, once prior to their award of the Jefferson project for SEMSD, and then once following that. And based on our conversations with them, we do believe we trust that they have the capacity, they have the crews to handle both the Jefferson reconstruction and our reconstruction program, and the fact that since they would have so many resources allocated over into St. Clair Shores during the construction season, that they will be able to stay on schedule, provide assistance from one project to the other as needed, and that we should have very few any delays or, work stoppages, anything like that, just again, due to their commitment in the city. So we are looking to award this project to Florence Cement.
So you had 9 bidders?
Yes.
9 bidders, and they were the low bidder, right?
Yes.
And then you said the PASER rating for all these, they were?
2.
A 2. Mm-hmm. Questions? Mr. Vitale.
Okay, 2 points here. First of all, I'm glad we had so many bidders.
Yes.
And I'm glad we got a good bid here on that. But just on the project itself, and the Paisley rating, I know I brought this up before. It did seem like there was some agreement on council that we have 2 boulevard streets in the city, Brookdale, and then we have the one over here that's by City Hall. Is that
Alexander east of Jefferson.
And I don't know if there's a consensus agreement here, but I think we should deduct a point. The lower is the worst, I assume. The lower your Paisley number is, the more likely to get repaid. We should probably deduct a point for those 2 streets, which are already in fairly bad condition. Based on the fact that you can't drive around a pothole on those streets.
Sure.
And they're also inadequate. If someone gets a delivery from a furniture store or something like that, the street becomes impassable, even if you have a guest or something like that. So, and those are going to be big projects.
No,
so I would say
agreed.
We'll probably blow the whole budget if we did one of those streets.
No, that's very accurate, and that is something that we have been looking into, and we are actually going to put some money aside, or we are going to ask to put money aside this coming year to start doing some investigation on the project on Brookdale and figuring out what the best course of action would be on that, whether widening would be the best course of action or just, repaving, like how we want to approach that. And then I would imagine however we approach that would be very similar to how we approach Alexander. But yes, those are absolutely on our radar because, yes,
So you're going to do engineering. You said you're talking about doing some engineering, preliminary engineering on that road.
Yes.
And design.
And design, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Personally, I would want to keep the treed medians, but I don't think they need to be quite as wide as they are. But I definitely think they add something to the street, but they need to be wider.
Right.
And I don't even understand why I drive a 1950s car and it's enormous. So how did they ever design streets that were that small? But, okay, so that's for the future. I wanted to give all those people at home something to hope for. The other thing I was going to mention is thank you, Assistant City Manager, for putting that up on the screen behind you. One that I noticed, that shows the dead end to Winton, essentially, that you're talking about. I'm going to say this. I understand the idea that, we don't want to have a resident, we shouldn't have 2 residents with 2 downgraded streets, but have we ever had, and I'm not saying nothing needs to be done here, but have we ever had complaints from the residents or anything there?
Yes.
Okay. So,
that's kind of what brought it to my attention in the first place, actually, yes.
I probably peddled I had a best friend, Mike Bouquet, who lived on Winton, and I probably pedaled my bike on that same piece of asphalt, God knows how many years ago. But I am going to say, when I was on that street, if you could go to that next slide, most all of that section of Statler from 94 up to, I would say, San Rosa. At San Rosa, it kind of goes south, is in very good condition, except for the area between Ursuline and Cubernus, where it's blacktop for some of it. So I'm wondering, and one of the bad things about the bid is I can't really break out how many dollars are allocated to Winton.
It's like $60,000 or less. It's pretty negligible in terms of the overall cost of the project.
Now, I'm not looking to give a gift to Lakeview Public Schools, who just found money to lease another building and pass another bond, but this is our street. And there are really only 2 areas that are in poor condition on this section of Statler.
You're talking the Ursuline to Cubernus section?
In that section.
Yes.
And I would say that those are the 2 driveways in front of Princeton School. One was on the administration side, one is on the school side. Those 2 driveways are in very poor condition. Not so much even the driveways, just the blacktop street area. So I'm wondering if we can't, if my first thought was, well, maybe we just do that section of Winton again in blacktop. And while we got a blacktop contractor on site, we cut these 2 sections out and redo them, and then maybe seal coat that whole area and get another 5 years at least out of that section of Statler in front of the school, so that we're not here in 5 years tearing it all out and putting in new cement. Does anyone have a thought on that?
I guess going to your comment about having a asphalt contractor do that, that would be a very small scope of work. So, I mean.
We even
I
have
ju-
one coming in this year?
Not for asphalt, no.
And
So yeah, it would have to be kind of a separate project, and hey, if we're putting something that small out to bid, I don't know that we're going to get great pricing just because of how small that would be. If we're, I mean, in the future, if we're looking to, redo one of our asphalt streets, like I think Recreation is one that's HMA. So like maybe if we're doing something there, we can try to,
Well, then
tack that on, but.
Then let me ask this question. Perhaps if we have that contractor out on Winton doing the cement, could we look at cutting out that asphalt section in front of each driveway, which obviously sees the most intense use?
We could look into adding that.
And, maybe this is $10,000 worth of work. And then I would still say we should seal coat that. It's one of the reasons we lose the asphalt streets is we don't maintain them afterwards. To look at cutting those sections out, doing a cement pave there and seal coat. And that would have to be a completely separate bid, I'm sure, but,
You mean the seal coating?
Or could we use that same contract, well, the seal coat had to be separate.
Yeah, but this
We
will-
could use that same contractor pricing that's
Yeah, the
doing
unit
Winton.
pricing, yes.
They're gonna be set up, 500 feet away.
No, if we do like concrete patching, I mean, we can potentially do it as part of this. We could do it as part of our patching program with Galooey. I mean, there's other ways that we can look into that. I was just responding specifically to your mention of the asphalt.
Understood.
yeah.
We have unit pricing, so we can do that.
Okay, well then let's look into that as well, because we get a lot more life out of that section of Statler, I think, with just cementing in front of each driveway and seal coating.
Well, if we do new concrete, I don't know that we'd have to seal coat it. The seal coat would be for asphalt.
Well, I wasn't looking to
The whole thing.
pave all in front of Princeton.
No, I know, but it would do a patch. It's a concrete patch. You'd still.
Yeah, we wouldn't seal coat the concrete.
Right.
But the other areas, the
Sure.
existing asphalt needs a seal coat. So please take a look at that.
Mr. Rebello?
Hi, Mike. Okay. How's the unit pricing compare, now, we went out to bid for this one, okay? As opposed to extending the contract. How was the unit pricing compared to the previous ones? Is it higher? Is it lower?
I mean, everything's just getting a little higher just naturally, but I mean, I didn't notice anything that was like substantially higher than what we had in our program last year.
I should have actually called you up, or I talked with you a little bit about something, but I should have asked you that too, because I didn't mean to blindside you.
Oh, no,
Well, I was just sort of
you're okay.
wondering
I mean, I would have been
if
able to look at
how
last
things
year.
are going in that department of bids versus extensions and so forth.
Well, for this program, there was not an extension. It's the patching program with Galooey.
Yeah,
That
right, I
was
know
the
it wasn't an
extension.
extension, okay.
But yeah, I mean, again, all these construction costs go up every year, especially like the concrete items and the asphalt items. But like I said, it wasn't anything substantial or alarming compared to, what we've been seeing. It was kind of as expected.
And Pazer is the rating, in case people are
Correct.
listening. Okay, Mike, who is Pazer? Like, who are these folks?
Pazer is the rating system.
Who are they?
Pazer is the rating system. It is the name of the rating system that is used by the state of Michigan, or more specifically, the Transportation Asset Management Council, or TAMC. And so that's just a rating system that we use based on what they, provide to all of the Act 51 cities. And then, obviously we have to report these results to them. And they, have criteria set for each rating and what to look for depending on the type of pavement.
Okay, so those guys are driving around the city saying that's bad, that's good, that's bad, that's good. Okay.
Pretty much.
With some of our input, right? Some of your input,
Yes.
you're in there too? Okay, so I guess I'm gonna sort of play off of what Mr. Vitale was just sort of talking about and what we talked about on our last agenda. And that's about keeping control right here, keeping control closer, okay? Because I would probably bet from John to Candace down here that we know our streets pretty good, and we know what's
Sure you do.
bad pretty, we know what's bad too, okay? That's why I guess over the years, I have grown sort of disdained with using Pazer, because I think that they fluctuate so much over a given year or two. It might be a 5 one year and a 2 the next year, okay, or vice versa. So that's, and like I said, that's what I'm playing off of, the last agenda item. And Mr. Vitale sort of went down a rabbit hole with the, he's got a good idea with what he just came up with. So I'm just letting you know, I'm getting very opposed to Pazer, and I'm getting more on the side of the company that's actually going to come out, who wins the bid and come out and starts doing the work. I think they probably have Florence has been around the city for a very long time, correct? I mean, they've been here a long time. So I think that they probably know a lot about our streets too, and I think Galooey knows a lot about our streets too. So I just sort of wanted to get that off my chest, because it sort of bothers me a little bit.
No, I mean, I can't say I disagree.
Nothing against what you've done. You just, you do a great job at what you do.
Well, the Pazer's trying to get the,
Sorry.
you can go.
I was going to say, so the Pazer is a little bit different. The Pazer actually uses the engineers who actually look at multiple things of the road surface as a third party. When you have a contractor that's actually going to be doing the work, they're obviously going to say, hey, we got to do more, we got to do this. Or we have a limited amount of money that the council sets aside.
Yes,
that then we go through and we use an engineering company who is able to go out and inspect and change all the roads. The engineering company are the ones who are educated and well-versed in being able to rank the roads without utilizing political, I would just say, amount of phone calls or residents' impact on the roads being done.
So you're using the engineering professionalism to say that whatever they say is perfect. And no disrespect, I disagree with that, okay? And I always have.
All right, but I don't know if we're saying perfect, but we are sending them out to look at all the roads in the community, evaluate them, and come back. Does not mean they're perfect. I understand that, but we are, as he said, trying to have a third party, not have politics or whatever, and go out and evaluate these roads, put a rating on, then it comes back to us, and then we're supposed to, go down that list with roads that are 2 or 3 replaced. If we get 5 or 6, we can try to patch them and get them the long term, but and again, they're not perfect, but we're trying to get some third party to evaluate it and say, hey, this is what you ought to do, and then, we're all able to look at 2s and 3s, et cetera.
Well, again, I agree with you on the Pazer ratings as a whole. Like, it is not a perfect thing because it's subjective to whoever looks at it. Like, when I did them in 2024, it's probably different than if somebody else did it, right? I mean, they obviously are trying to make that so that doesn't happen, but
a rating by someone who writes a 2 is not a 6. You're not going to go down there and go, hey, you know what, I'm really wrong, it's a 6. Come on, it's not could it be a 2, could be maybe a 3, or I guess, something like, agreed.
Right, but that's why internally we try to use these different factors that also play into it, right? How many resident concerns do we get about this? Is there, a utility project that we have to do? How much of the street is actually in that poor condition, and so, and then also, we do the Pazer ratings every 3 years. That's a state requirement. And I understand sometimes something gets worse over 1 year. And, so.
We know that.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. Sure. And so that is kind of where it is a little faulty, to your point, for sure.
I just want to let you know you do a very good job of what you're doing. I just have, I go down sideways with this topic.
And to his point, I mean, let's be honest, Jefferson from 11 to 12 mile, I don't know what it was last year. It's a 1 now.
That is example A of how it can get worse in a winter.
Totally. So, Mr. Karen.
Thank you. So the history of the Pazer ratings, we started doing those, brought them in 2017. And you do run into an issue because the 3 different times we've done it, it's been different engineering firms, this last time being Mr. Freckleton doing it. And there is different interpretations in that because, remember going through with Mr. Liebert we had HRC do them one time, and then,
I think Hennessy.
did, you're correct, did the next time. And Mayor,
Yes.
they did have ones to where one had a 3 and the other had a 6.
Okay.
And Chris and I,
Stand corrected.
picked up Chris in the truck, and we were driving around trying to figure out, like, how could they think one was a 3, one was a 6, trying to make some
pretty bad.
sense of it, right? And so I think probably going forward, because since this is something you're doing now, and I know I've talked about, there's AI companies that can just scan the roads and do the calculations rather than an individual person looking at them trying to figure it out. I do still think we need to go that route, because I think that takes all the subjectivity out of it. It's just, analyzing what the road is, cameras, and then running it through the algorithms and letting that spit out what the numbers are. To just remove all that individual subjectivity, because I know you struggle with, there's a big, broken block, and that how much that drives the entire street down from a 6 to a 2, because you got, 1 or 2 of those, that could be fixed in a patching program versus a full reconstruct type
And that
thing.
is what I tried to take into account
Right,
during
it's-
that. But yes, you are correct,
Right.
because
That's
Pazer is
that's
just the worst
subjectivity
part
you're
of the
trying to
street.
figure out
Right.
manually. When you're trying to come up with these ratings, for all these streets, so.
And there are the AI companies that do that. I'm actually trying to work with one. It's called Urban Hawk, I guess, if you
Good.
wanted to look into them. But yeah, they're same thing where they would go and kind of take the inventory, or it would be something that would hook up to like just DPW vehicles or whatever, whatever vehicles drive around all the time, and it would just be
'cause they
constant
need-
like
right.
data collection.
They just need to
So,
get the camera footage
Yes.
with the GPS of where it was at, and then the programs can process the data.
Yes.
And there'll still be some sense checking that goes with that, right? We still got, double check of, hey, is the algorithm really, what would be what our priorities are? Because, because probably things like the algorithm wouldn't pick up would be Brookdale and Alexander, which are very unique cases.
Right.
That need to get addressed, so, so looking forward to us figuring that out going forward.
100%.
So back to the actual award for today for Florence. So, one of the concerns is that, Jefferson, the next 2 years, that Florence has that bid through, was awarded that bid through SUSD.
Right.
And that we were having, one company take on too much. And so that's why, staff met with them one time, and then the mayor and I, we sat in at this last meeting with them, and even their president was at this meeting as well, that they are fully committed, they're going to be able to do this, they're going to be able to do it on time. And one of the specific things I was bringing up, because we've seen it time and again, of, hey, once you remove material from a street, you've got to have crews back to do the next step.
Yes.
Until you get concrete poured, and then once that's curing, okay, then you can go off that street while that cures.
Right.
But once material's removed, you guys are showing continuous work. We're not going to get in
Yes.
these situations where concrete gets removed and then the street's not touched for 4 to 5 weeks.
Ratings a week later. Like,
Right,
yeah.
right. So, so they took that to heart. They fully committed that since they're going to have their crews here, they'll be bouncing all around the city for these projects to get them done. But it is a lot for one company to handle. And this time, they're not using any of their subs. It'll be
Right.
their personnel, their crews, their equipment that's going to come in to do all this work. So,
Yes.
so, well, we're going to hold them to what they promised.
That's what I was going to say. We'll
Exactly, but
hold them to that.
And that's just on staff, really coordinating a lot with them of understanding when they're in, and once they start on a street, they keep going in that. So just keep on them like that. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. So I just want to go back to 2 quick things and then talk about this. So if in fact we do anything in front of the driveways at the school, it's got to be done by the time school starts,
Well, it'll
okay?
be done in the summer while school is not.
Make a big
in.
note, asterisk, whatever.
Yes,
because
understood.
we'll all get that phone call, okay? And then the other thing was on Brookdale. Denise, you, me, Brian, we met with some folks on Brookdale that actually put a, remember, they went and got the signatures of everybody that, where they thought they could try and do something. And I know you and Brian both brought in the fact that there's, the underground would play a big part in how we would actually redo that street, which goes back to what the mayor was saying about engineering, but because of some of the other stuff that was there. So maybe we need to go revisit that again with those guys. Have you heard from him at all? Has he been back in? Okay, all right, maybe I'll give him a ring and see but we're
Well,
not
that's
talking.
why we're trying to do that preliminary investigation into, hey, what would be the best way that we could potentially approach this, or what would be the course of action to do this? Because, yeah, if we're widening it, then we might have to move some, move the
Catch
storm
basins
sewer
or
over, move
something,
catch
yeah.
basins, and I mean, that's just added cost, and
Well,
then,
and the biggest thing is, if you're on that street and there's an Amazon truck, you're behind the truck.
oh, yeah, I understand.
You aren't going around
You're
it.
stuck.
Yeah, that's something that didn't exist in the
Well,
50s.
and unless sometimes you see the guy driving around,
milk trucks.
up on the curb and back
Early
down,
morning.
if you got a big enough truck, so, but, I'm gonna make the motion, because I think we're all pretty much on board here to get this done, to award the 2026 Local Streets Reconstruction Program to Florence Cement Company in the amount of $3,200,556.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. Mr. Vitale.
Only one thing I was going to add to Councilman Rebel's point is that, when he was saying that, I was thinking to myself, you know what, if we have a cement contractor that wants to drive 220-some miles of our city streets and make recommendations and not charge us for it, then I am all on board with listening. But I will just say this, if we do have a contractor that is, maybe they are doing patching and they see something that isn't called out, I hope that we would be open enough, because I believe their pricing right now, we're running at pricing from years ago.
That's for Galooey, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And Galooey is very good at that, actually, of contacting me if he's on a street and does notice something, or like adjacent to a work area,
Yeah,
where it's like,
exactly.
hey, we might want to consider expanding this. He does usually let me know, and then we look at it and
Okay,
assess
because
it
that
from
is
there,
something
so.
I've heard that, hey, look, I was 100 feet away from this, and this looks even worse. So let's keep an open mind to that.
Yep.
So, okay.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen, to award the 2026 Local Reconstruction Program to Florence Cement Company, the amount of $3,200,556. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
6-1, it passes. Thank you.
Thank you, council. Have a great night.
Thank you.
So
10B, request to award the bid for library shelving for youth services. Stephanie Fair, Library Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm here again to request a part of the ongoing library renovation project, new shelving for the youth services area in support of reconfiguring the collection and the updated library layout. The library did solicit bids for the purchase and installation of new shelving. We only had 2 companies submit bids for that, and that was Casper and Library Design Associates. I do apologize, as the budget impact, I did flip-flop the numbers and put in library design, but in the recommendation of the $90,639 for Casper is there in the other 2 spots.
Questions? Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Yeah, Stephanie, what was the budget in the library renovation for this? Do you recall, or was
I
it broken
don't
out
recall.
ever
Do you
before?
I don't think we broke it out, did we?
It was in with, and I'm sorry, I don't have that with me right now, but I will send it to all council, but I believe it was like 280, but that included some of the furniture and then the relocation and the putback. So it was
Yeah.
all under all under the owner's portion of that. So, and at the last meeting, when we purchased the furniture, because we purchased more, I think it ended up putting us over, so we will have a budget amendment. But we were able to receive that additional funding as well.
Right.
So it has put us over that allotted number because of the additional furniture, but it is, I'll have to get you the exact number.
Okay. All right, thank you.
A motion would be in order.
Move to approve the award of the library shelving for children's area to Casper Corporation, the amount of $90,639.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. 10C, request to award the senior center bocce ball court renovation using community development block grant funding. Liz Cotto, City Planner, and Rob Spinazzola, Parks and Rec Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What you have before you tonight are 2 bids that we received for replacement of the bocce courts at the senior center, and then a possible alternate to add a structure over the entire length of both of the bocce courts. This would be paid for with CDBG funding. We put $250,000 in the 2025-2026 budget. So that money has been already set aside for this, and we can set aside additional money in the upcoming budget. I'm anticipating receiving about how much we normally do, which is in the $800,000 range. And at this point, we do have plenty available either in program income or the upcoming entitlement funding available for that. So as you will see in your packet, though I apologize because it didn't turn out very well when I printed it out tonight, the bid tab. So the primary bid, the lowest bidder was C&S Construction, with a primary bid of $128,000, alternative $192,000. KAB Enterprises came in with a primary bid of $161,000, with the alternate being a whole new shade structure at $225,000 for a total of $387,000. I spoke with Fishbeck. I asked them to add wrapping the poles of the shade structure into the mix as well, because the way that C&S Construction had provided us with the alternate was just a bare 4x4 post. And so I felt that wrapping it would be better for maintenance and long-term just viability of the structure. So even with the pole wrap added to it, C&S Constructions was lower than KAB Enterprises. And then if you add in the 20% contingency, which we add for all CDBG projects.
Is that a requirement?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Would bring it to $402,300. And there's the breakdown of, we already have $250,000 set aside from the 2025 budget. We could put forth $85,000 for the 2026 budget, and then the 20% contingency could come from program income if we wanted to do it that way. There's many ways to skin this cat, though, if you wanted to move forward with the alternate and the wrapping of the poles.
Questions? Frederick?
I think it's a great idea to, not only to redo this, but to put the shade up for them. I mean, it gets pretty intense back there, and I think this is critical, and I like your idea of wrapping the poles too, because that's going to extend the life of those, and we want to get this done and make them happy over there, right? So I would move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen.
With the new canopy and the column wraps.
Mr. Rubello?
I just want to make a comment on this whole complex. I mean, this is a very nice senior center. Rob, you guys do a great job. The whole complex, you look at it now, it's like a little city in there. And it's got a lot of activities, and it's got a lot of people going through that the senior activity center. I mean, there's over 2,100 people in there now. So
it's huge.
Over the years, I haven't always been here, but over the years, it's been built up to, everyone should be proud up here that's touched that thing, because I'm not sure what else there is to do there, because it's like a
petting zoo.
Well, there'll be something to do. Maybe not tomorrow or next year, but
careful with your.
There'll be something.
They will find something.
I understand
They
your
will
point.
find something, sir.
Yeah,
I know, but darn it, it looks, I was in there today and I beat some guy in pool because he thought he could beat me and playing in there. I whipped him, okay?
90.
And,
well,
no,
that was a
90.
low blow, actually, but
Okay.
continue.
I whipped him.
You just lost a vote to him.
No, I told him I whipped him. So whatever you're doing, man, you're doing it right in there, and it looks great, and you should be proud of it, and you should wear that like a feather in your cap.
And that's a credit to Matt and his staff. They do a wonderful job of programming. Credit to CDI with working with us, because a lot of the funding and things we're able to do over there is through the CDBG program. So we're going to continue to build on that as we move forward. And
I know Liz has, got her fingers in there and stuff, and's done a lot in there, and the pickleball stuff, and it's great. That's all I have to say.
and I want to, he just brought it up, I'd like to piggyback too, because I think it's really truthfully more than just the senior center. When you look at that whole complex, meaning the pickleball, the new soccer, the parking lots, not only for Civic Arena there, a great sign that we have, actually. I actually really like the sign that sits on the handball courts. And, the Civic Center is out to bid. That whole area, don't discount the community garden, looks fantastic there too. I mean, pardon me?
Playgrounds,
Yeah, and
that was new.
the whole area is just, and you do a great job, but I also want to give credit to the body here who continues to move forward and making these changes and improvements to it and making it better. It's because it is places that people in the community who pay taxes feel and touch and get to be part of their life. So it's really important, and so I commend everybody for that, because it's just more than the bocce ball and it's the whole area. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. It's funny, I was reading the memo about the existing canopies, and I remember being a part of that, and we only could do the partial ones. And I remember even back then, we bought them in 2011, and they weren't until 2012. Even then, people still wanted the full court cover, so it's nice that we're able to do that with this round of renovations, because I know that's been a request from the users of the bocce ball courts for a long time. We were able to do some of it, but it's nice that we can do a full-on right now. In terms of, it says renovations, could you just talk a little bit about what we're doing and all the scope of this? I know it says a drinking fountain and all that, and just talk about what the users can look forward to in terms of the facility.
Sure. So right now, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but basically, you can see up there, the courts are like a gravel, basically. And I'm clay, thank you. Yes, and it has to be rolled out each time they want to use the courts. And so it's a lot of planning ahead. It's not something that people can just walk out and play, and they really want to encourage that as well. Beyond the bocce groups, league play, they want people to be able to just go out and use them. So we're going to be installing an artificial turf now, which doesn't need to be rolled in advance, which is also the impetus for the full canopy, because that will then be sheltered at all times and won't be as exposed to the elements. So it would be an artificial turf, rebuilding the boards around it, adding a scoreboard, a drinking fountain, fans in the canopy area as well. New concrete pads for the benches, new benches, removing and replacing the shed that's there, and repairing foundation as needed.
I'll echo Mayor Walby too. It's just, not only with this facility and Civic Arena as a whole, you look at what we've been able to do in Parks and Rec over the past 10 years or so, from Blossom Heath to Kite Monroe. It's been really nice, the amount of the swimming pool. I mean, that's been a lot. It's been very nice to be a part of making these improvements in the community that are used by the seniors, by kids, and by families, by everybody. So this is just a part of what we've been able to do over the years, and it's nice to, be able to bring these things to the community and not only maintain what we have, but, keep making things better as well. So thanks for the work you've done, Rob, Jason with the quads, everybody. This is just one little project, and it's a nice one to add on to the list of things we've been able to accomplish.
Mr. Karen?
Thank you. And also, I know Eric from Fishbeck went to the Senior Advisory Committee and met with them end of February, or their February meeting?
Yes,
And
yeah.
reviewed these plans with them, so I think that was good, to make sure they're engaged in providing input. And then, in terms of talking about what's next, I know it was early planning into this, the shuffleboard courts were gonna be a part of it, we couldn't fit it in, so I'm guessing that'll be like the next stage that we're going to be working on going forward in the next couple of years.
Right, so originally with this whole idea, as it was started with, obviously, senior input, we wanted to replace everything, but just with the amount of funding we needed to do this was priority. So this is the start. eventually, we would like to do something with that shuffleboard area as it's not used and make it into something that can be usable again for them. So, and to your point, this all started with really Liz, myself, and Eric going to a Scots board meeting, getting their input, then taking it to the OPAC board and making sure everybody had their input on this thing. And that's how Liz put this together to go out to bid. So really, it's been an involvement from everybody all around.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Rubello.
I just wanted to add one more thing. And Mrs. Shimatero would love to see this, but to comment, the bocce ball, I mean, it's got two good leagues going in it during the week, and it's seeing a lot of people. So I guess my point is that this complex is getting used, and I think I'm going to call it, instead of the senior center, I'm going to call it the senior complex, because that's what it is. So great job, you guys.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen to approve the canopy and the column wraps. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11, consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12, updates and follow-ups from prior council meetings. Mr. Lent.
Mr. Vitale requested a social media post that includes a cross-sectional image of the pipes as they appear during the sanitary sewer CIPP lining project, so residents can better understand the process and the outcome. The city engineer suggested that he will bring up the request with the contractor and inspection team during the pre-construction meeting. The goal would be to have the inspector provide a video of the operation while it is taking place, and then to cut off a small section of the liner to keep in CDI to demonstrate the process to the residents. Immediately, the only option would be posting a generic video of a lining operation from the internet.
Yes.
I'm not against social media. I think I was mostly talking about the city's cable channel for that, which you did cover on there. But when that's done, make sure that it gets out to individual council as well, because our city page, unfortunately, doesn't get the hits that it used to because there's all the nasty pages, and I'll want to post it there so it actually gets seen. Okay. So.
Mr. Vitale noted that he is still waiting to hear on the diagonal saw cutting from the engineer. The city engineer researched diagonal joints and found guidance from both the American Concrete Paving Association and the Federal Highway Administration that joints should be constructed in a way to make slabs as square as possible. Please see attached the advisory from both of those both of those organizations.
That come as an email?
It did. Well, and it's actually, I think, in the packet as well.
All right, I'll have to look for the email.
Mayor and City Council requested that a resolution be prepared expressing opposition to the House bills, which was voted on tonight.
Yep.
Mr. Frederick requested weekly updates on the SAFER grant. The grant period has not yet opened. Chief Piper has prepared, so he's not prepared anymore, an executive summary outlining the materials needed in anticipation of the City Council. I actually have it in my office, and I am reviewing it, and I will be releasing that to all council members by the next day or two.
Good, thank you.
Yep. Mr. Ribello requested that the crosswalk stripings be painted at the intersections of 9 Mile Road and Greater Mack Avenue. The pavement marking contractor will be returning this spring to complete the longitudinal lines once the weather allows. We can request to have the 9 Mile and Greater Mack intersection also painted at that time. Mr. Karen requested that the in-ground signage at Blossom Heath be straightened. The sign at Blossom Heath was repaired on March 2nd. Mr. Frederick requested confirmation of the yard waste pickup dates and asked that the date be corrected on the city's website if necessary. The yard waste collection does start Monday, March 30th, and the city calendar and the websites are all been corrected with that date. Mr. Vitale asked if there is a city ordinance that would prohibit the storage facilities located on the northeast corner of 9 Mile and I-94 from having large rocks on its property. Section 36-124 of the ordinance says that borders are allowed within the right-of-ways with approval from Community Development Department. The boulders in question, however, are not located within the right-of-way per the GIS, and the map is included.
Item 13 is comments by individual council members. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Just one quick announcement tonight. The Lakeview Community Theater Guild is presenting Mary Poppins the Musical at Lakeview High, March 20th through 22nd. Check their Facebook page for times and ticket information and how to purchase. Again, the Lakeview Community Theater Guild is presenting Mary Poppins the Musical. They say a spoonful of sugar makes this musical practically perfect. Join us for supercalifragilisticexpialidocious adventure as Lakeview Community Theater Guild presents the beloved musical Mary Poppins. When the magical nanny with the talking umbrella arrives at number 17 Cherry Tree Lane, the Bates family will never be the same. With a combination of enchantment and common sense, Mary Poppins teaches Jane and Michael Bates and their parents that anything can happen if you let it. The timeless tale features unforgettable songs, including A Spoonful of Sugar, Chim Chim Cherry, the aforementioned names, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Feed the Birds, and Let's Go Fly a Kite, brought to life by our talented cast and crew, perfect for the whole family. This production promises dazzling sets, whimsical choreography, and theatrical magic that will transport you to the streets of Edwardian London and beyond. Don't miss the chance to experience one of musical theater's most cherished stories. Bring the whole family and discover why Mary Poppins continues to capture hearts generation after generation. See you at the theater. Lakeview Community Theater Guild is a group of talented people behind the scenes and on stage who are members of the Lakeview community, either their students, their alumni, family members, staff, things like that, and they always do a really great performance. And it's important to support, our local community members with this, their theater productions. And again, this one says it for the whole family, and I think it's also really important. I'm taking my nephew, he's 5. I've taken him to, he saw SpongeBob, he saw Rock of Ages. Anytime the local, one of our local high schools or community groups do a theater presentation within reason, obviously he's 5, I'd take him because I think it's important to not only encourage an appreciation of this, but support of the community, and also just teaching kids to, be good audience members, to sit still, pay attention, applaud, and they have fun doing it. He really loved The Little Mermaid when all the little kids ran. And the fun thing about some of these community ones is the people they'll see on stage are also kids, not entirely, but a large part of them are kids, so they get to see some of their peers interact, and do this and maybe think, maybe I can do that one day. So definitely consider taking your family. This one is very family appropriate, and it's good to go support these programs. So a lot of them only get funding through ticket sales and sponsorships and fundraising too. So it also helps them not only do this type of production, but do productions that keep this going in the future too. So again, Lakeview Community Theater Guild, check out their Facebook page for times and ticket information. Mary Poppins Musical, March 20th to the 22nd.
Thank you. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rusi and I, we both got emails from some residents at the end of Wildwood and Sunnydale. They saw Hennessy out there basically taking soil borings as they're finishing up the engineering designs for the new storm sewer that would go in, that would be part of the storm sewer separation project. So it's got the neighbors a bit angst about what's happening at the end of their street and what type of outlet is going to go out to the lake. I know earlier on that John Hennessy said that he would be meeting with neighbors and that, so we're probably going to need to pull that meeting ahead to explain to them what all that's going to look like and what type of, what they should be able to expect down there and that. So I'll forward on the contact from the neighbors that she's willing to kind of be the central person to bring in some few people at the end of that street for that conversation. So I'll forward that along this week. And then just a couple of announcements. Arbor Day at Bryce Park at the Arboretum is going to be April 24th, a Friday at 9 a.m. And we'll be doing tree planting and mulching and taking care of the trees that were planted the last few years. And I did solicit the Lakeshore National Honor Society students to help out again this year. So they're going to come out in full force and be a great help to the tree planting event. So again, Arbor Day is Friday, April 24th, and in St. Clair Shores, we celebrated at 9 a.m. in the Bryce Park Arboretum. And other announcement, I've been working with Rob and Dr. Papa from the Shorewood Kiwanis on dedication day for the Shorewood Kiwanis courts at Kite Monroe. So we're tentatively setting that as Tuesday, May 12th at 6 p.m. and tentative as we got to make sure they get painted first, and we got to have weather that cooperates to do that. We're pretty confident that will all be done in April, but we just never know. We have to have several days above 50 degrees consistently for them to come out to do that work. So what we're currently planning is Tuesday, May 12th, 6 p.m. to dedicate the Shorewood Kiwanis courts at Kite Monroe. That's the new pickleball and tennis court that's going in. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. So you all remember we had some folks at our last meeting here who were talking about Stand Out, which is that's the Adaptive Adult Organization. And they have a bowling fundraiser coming up. I know they mentioned it, but let's mention it again. It's March 26th. There are some sponsorship packages available. And Candace, I know you'll probably put a basket together for them, I bet. And we'll probably all try and do some things, but there are some sponsorship levels, 500, 200. And I think they're just also looking for people to sign up. There is a QR code, which we'll try and get on the broadcast at some point here, but Standout Bowling Fundraiser. And then, and this is always the fun day, the annual Easter egg hunt is coming up on Saturday, April 4th. And this thing begins promptly at noon. And when we say promptly, we mean get there about 1:45 at the latest, 1:45 to noon, because it's over at 10 minutes after 12. All right, they throw the eggs are out there, you say go, and the kids go crazy. So if you bring your kids down there, there's a lot of fun and a lot of surprises. I know, Candace, you always have some special prizes that end up in an egg someplace. Bring your Easter basket to collect the eggs, get in on the fun. But again, be there way before noon. And from what I understand, too, this year, there might actually be a fishing opportunity in the park that day as well. So, and that, I think Henry Bowman is working on that. And on that, I just want to say to Henry, what a great job he did at the St. Patty's in the park. He has found his niche. We are happy he's doing that. He had 3 different acts come in where there was a morning band, then the fife and drum came in, and then an evening band, and the Hockey Association benefited by pouring the beer, and I can tell you it was a great time had by all. So Henry, well done, and Rob, well done to you guys and your team and your crew who were all were out there. And some people actually showed up from out of town that just came because it was hockey and because they were visiting. So all good. What a great day in the neighborhood. And then last but not least, it was funny, I talked to Stephanie this morning about library announcements. She goes, I don't think we have any. I go, there's got to be one. And she goes, well, talk about the bricks again. So, okay, the library bricks are still available. Check out the library's website and get a brick and support the library. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Vitale.
Thank you. Go ahead and put it up. I mentioned this at a prior council meeting, and yes, this slide is just a rerun. I didn't take a new picture. It was cleaned up for a little bit, but honestly, this section along Ridgeway here is even more riprap is on top of the concrete now. And I'm not mad at it because anything that keeps the construction going fast on Jefferson, I'm good with. But I do think we should just close that section of sidewalk.
Okay.
And just put a sign up. There's another side of sidewalk that you can
Understood.
walk on. So let's just do that. Next. I did throw an email out to everybody on council during the week, and I did mention this one big pothole that's right at the corner of St. Gertrude, but I went there today. That was taken care of. That's a 3-inch tape measure with 4 inches sticking out of it. That was one monster pothole, but that has been remedied, and I appreciate that. And I just ask that, perhaps we get some kind of an update in terms of where we're patching. Just, a couple sentences. we do it for water main breaks, so we can tell residents why their water's brown. We get a lot of calls too. Are you doing patching on? I would like to be able to tell them yes or no. Absolutely no reflection on DPW, the quality, the speed, or anything that they do in their work. I think it's great. I understand why they pull them away for weather and water main breaks, et cetera, but I would just like to know kind of where it's being done so that when we get asked that question, I can say, I don't see that on the email, so I'm going to make them aware of it, or I can say, it looks like something was done there last Thursday, so I will take a look at it and maybe give them a heads up. That's all I'm asking for on that. And I think there was a consensus among
Or we're on
emails from council.
Little Mac, or we're on Harper.
Yeah, and just, where we're at and everything like that. And did I have a third? Just two? Oh.
Wow.
I feel like I had, maybe I was thinking of the one from the.
That's rubble.
Yeah, there was the one on Princeton too, that's what it was.
That's rubble.
All right, well, other than that, wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. I wore my green, so.
I got mine.
I keep this tie around basically to wear with a red shirt at Christmas and for St. Patrick's Day. So, I'll move it on to those.
All right, thank you.
Other people.
Spoken like
Ms.
a true
Burgess.
Italian.
So, Ron, you mentioned about the Easter egg hunt.
Yes.
Well, the Waterfront Environmental Committee is also putting on our Earth Day Family Fun Day that is going to happen exactly after that 5-minute Easter egg hunt.
At Blossom Heath Park.
At Blossom Heath Park.
Awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have quite a few vendors there,
Awesome.
lots for the kids to do. I know last year you were talking about Henry bringing the fishing. They did that with our Earth Day last year. It's going to be a fun event, so make sure you stick around after the 5-minute Easter egg hunt to be involved with the Earth Day Family Fun Day. I also don't have too much announcements. I just am loving all these fish fries everybody's having and the delicious, oh yeah, my earrings. Chris was showing.
I was doing the Kill Burnett thing.
Yeah, gotta go do the earrings. I don't really own anything green, so I got the earrings. But went to St. Patty's in the Park on Saturday. We weren't there too long because I don't like the cold too much, and it was crowded. You really couldn't even move. Yeah. It was so crowded. But thank you for Parks and Rec. That was just a wonderful, packed full day, and everybody seemed to have a really good time. Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. And also, we're not going to be here before Easter hits. So I want to wish everybody a very happy Easter and get into church, celebrate our risen Lord.
Thank you. Mr. Rebello.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple items here. One of them, we did touch on some stuff earlier this meeting. Had a chance to go to the Michigan Municipal League last week. I do have some topics. I'm not going to talk about them all here, but it's a great way for our city to learn about what other towns are doing and just sort of rub elbows with people and steal some ideas and exchange ideas. So I will report on that a little bit later to all of you in case there's something that you think we may be able to use. So let's move on to the screen. Okay. So, Rob, I would give you a Muskrat Award, but you do not know how to do like a triple axel or anything like these folks did, okay? These folks came to our Civic Arena a couple of days ago, Sunday, and what a great thing to have come to the city of St. Clair Shores. These folks here finished 5th in the Olympics. And they had a sort of a meet and greet. So I gave, as you can see, Emily and Vadim, they were Muskrat Award winners. Now, the Muskrat Award is given to people that have touched the city in a certain way, a certain positive way. And I explained to her what it was, and she asked, do I qualify? And I said, yes, of course you do. So I want to congratulate a couple of Olympians that came to one of our buildings in St. Clair Shores, and they had a great crowd. It was a pleasant day. So what a couple of pleasant kids right there. And Mayor, I tried to see if they would make it today because they are here in town, but they're in Livonia, Novi practicing. So they said they would come. They'll contact you when they when they're able to make one of our meetings, just to say hi. So that'll be
Fantastic.
pretty cool.
For sure.
And they said hi to everybody here, and I hope they were proud. Matthew, okay, 80th anniversary celebrated at Roy O'Brien Ford on Friday. There's a picture of Emily and Amy O'Brien, and great to have a great tradition right here in St. Clair Shores. Stay on the right track. 9 Mile and Mac. Happy 80th anniversary.
Written by the Gaylords.
Yeah, Burt Bonaldi. Wayne State University, please stop using outdated ways to do lab testing on dogs, okay? It's a big problem, and maybe they can find another way to not do this outdated practice anymore. It's just easy and cheap, and that's why they do it. So yes, I'm climbing on Wayne State a little bit. Too bad. And that was a picture at the Capitol Conference there in Lansing, which I told you I'd come back and talk a little bit about. And two other things, St. Isaac Jogues does have a annual egg hunt Easter Sunday, Sunday, April 5th, 2026, okay, following the 11:30 Easter Mass. St. Isaac Jogues, Sunday, April 5th. And I'll talk about I want to thank Liz Cotto, and I want to thank Denise Pike for pursuing this. We are a eCities 2025 honored community, so thank you, okay? That's great for a town to have something like this. And just the last note is to keep the folks that are in this, I'll call it a war. Let's hope they all keep as safe as they can, and let's hope this thing ends soon, very. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 14, City Manager Report.
No report.
Item 15 is audience participation. It's a 5-minute time limit. Views, opinions expressed under audience participation are those of the individual citizen only, do not necessarily represent the views, opinions of the mayor, city council, administration of the city of St. Clair Shores. You have 5 minutes. We just need your name and the city you reside in. Anyone like to speak? Yes, sir. Come on up here. Speak first, and then they'll show you where to sign in after, if you don't mind. Will do. Thank you.
Name is Jason Zabrowski. I reside in St. Clair Shores. I'm the president of the Bayview Homeowners Association. And a little over a year ago, if you all remember, on Super Bowl Sunday, we had a devastating house fire on our street. Very high level, where wife called the 911. I went running down, made sure, thank God, nobody was in there. Emergency services, good response time and everything, but the most disappointing thing was watching the fire crews kind of fight the fire with two hands tied behind their backs because of water pressure, right? And I think there's a major issue of water pressure on the canal streets. Now, it could be, I'm not sure about the other ones, but I'm sure they're about water flow, water pressure going down there. The fire crews actually had to tie into the fire hydrants across Jefferson to get water to contain the fire. But it went on for hours and hours. I've reached out to, I believe it was Abby Barrett multiple times last year, city clerk.
Yes.
With questions, comments that were submitted to the Public Works and other organizations, but I never got any response back. So what is the city doing? Because it's not if, when, or if it does, we don't want it to happen, but if another fire occurs on a canal street, how are the fire crews supposed to help out and not sit there and watch a house go up in flames with the lacking water pressure on the canal side streets?
Well, I can't answer that exact question here, but
Right.
let me get with Abby and we'll get those questions. I'm not aware of those questions. I don't think you sent them to me, but you could send them back to me, or we'll get with Abby or the clerk and we'll get those questions. I presume that's one of the questions in there, and let us answer them, get it back to you on those. How's that?
Okay. Yep.
But if you could send them to me on the web, and you can come up after the meeting, and I'll give you my email, and then I'll try to get those questions answered for you, all right?
Perfect. Okay.
Hey, if you could sign in, that'd be great after that. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, we're just going back to the mayor's comments. I don't have any, just wanted to wish everyone a happy Easter. Enjoy the time with your family. With that, on 17, we have to request to meet in closed session as permitted by state statute MCLA 15.268, Section 8C.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kieran, supported by Mr. Frederick to go into closed session. Amy, roll call vote.
Councilmember Karen.
Aye.
Councilmember Frederick.
Aye.
Councilmember Burgess.
Aye.
Councilmember Rebello.
Aye.
Councilmember Rusi. Aye. Councilmember Vitale.
Aye.
Mayor Walby.
Aye. Good night.